Well, hi y'all. Tis me. This rock and swap is just getting going. Our first guest just arrived, but this also just arrived. I'm the brand new owner of a Honer. The camera is running.
Aww.
The camera is running.
Let's make sure.
The camera is running and it's pointing at me. So if you don't want to be on camera, don't come over here.
Okay. Tommy is playing her debut.
I just received a brand new recorder and I wanted to get the first notes recorded on film. I probably should lift it up so I could see my face.
What do your face with? I'm not catching all this.
The camera was pointed down too low. We have another pair of vendors from the Rapper River show. Brought a whole mess of food. It looks like they actually went and bought food. We went dumpster diving.
Again. Well, we wanted to break bread with you.
Right on.
We brought bread and chicken and
Looks like hummus.
No,
Is that a big thing of hummus there?
no, it's beans and
Beans,
something.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm starving, so I'm
so we got one over here.
Yeah.
What do you
We
think?
need we need
I think it's a big piece of sourdough bread.
Well, it's actually, I think it's just French because it's French.
Is this what am I supposed to be thinking? Seeing in this phallic or something? That's sourdough.
Mustard.
No, it's French. Artisan French
There
bread.
you go, French.
It just says sourdough
Wait,
on the
perfect
package.
with this stone ground mustard.
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 Mustard. I
Mustard.
wanted to break this thing in. I
And
wanted to get the
blueberries.
first notes I
Another
wanted.
very French thing to do.
What's in here?
Oh no, please. No, we bought some firewood, so
Mind if I smoke?
no, not at all. Especially the trees.
And then
Yeah,
we
we do
have
that. We do that.
Yeah,
sometimes.
we don't. I don't tell. I smoke just about anything.
I can't handle being around tobacco myself.
Oh,
So
good.
somebody
I'd rather,
fires up a cigarette, I'm
knock
outside.
yourself out. If you want to burn a bunch of weed and meditation, started by you. So we're gonna. I'm the new owner of the Honer. Okay, now this is a student line Honer, but it's gonna. This other thing didn't play right. This bitch wasn't in tune.
So you have some experience playing the flute like that?
My grandmother was a piano teacher and had us in her lap,
Uh-huh.
getting the keys before we could walk or talk.
I see.
The flute, I've actually didn't play it much at all. I started the saxophone in like about the 5th grade,
Yeah.
and I didn't really pick up the flute until the 80s when my horn started getting stolen.
Oh, okay.
That was
You know, I took trombone in the 7th grade. I fucking hated it.
I loved it, and I was never any good at it. It's the only thing in my whole life. I'm a real quick study and can learn just about anything. And
Well,
music, just I had to work hard to learn how to play music. Let's see what
it
this
was
thing's
too
gonna
much
do.
of a pain in the ass to haul that trombone home a mile and a half, knowing that I had a guitar waiting for me.
It's playing clean up there. Real clean. A lot cleaner than the. I busted this one up, and it's breaking up at the top. See how that got chipped in there, and it's not playing right up across the second
I mean,
octave.
it's better for the paper towel will be shredded. So if you could sit down. We'll put stones here. I don't know.
Yeah, it's playing in tune and playing clean. Yay. This one just totally just doesn't play in tune. This is like they can use it
Maybe we'll just
for
put it back here.
colonoscopy or something.
There was a guy that I met years ago. He had a didgeridoo,
Uh-huh.
and he had a cap that went on the end of it, and it was a whistle cap of some sort. And he made the most amazing sounds
Aw.
and many, many octaves.
Oh, sorry. I'm with the police department.
Hello.
What's
Hey,
happening?
how you doing?
Welcome home, man.
Nice to meet you, Robin.
Thanks for
I'm
coming.
David.
David.
I had a hard time finding this joint, but I figured it out.
Well, I'm transplanting the window in Ari's car outside should help.
Yeah, I think I saw Ariana walking. Is she in?
Yeah, we're here.
I just have to eat because I'm starving. still.
Well, knock yourself out.
Knock yourself
And
over.
I brought stuff to trade, but it's in the car still.
Well,
Hi.
we don't know who's
Hey.
here.
Is this it?
This
Yeah,
is
this
it.
is it.
Yeah, heck of a time finding this joint. You found it. Boy, that chicken smells like chicken. Where'd you
Might
get
wanna
You
that?
get to see me with a knife in my hand.
I might,
Oh yeah.
I might want to grab some of
I
that.
should bring that up.
You got any
You
watermelons?
really should.
No.
No, yeah,
that hasn't
I
been
think
brought
I
yet.
want some of that.
Can and grab
Let's
you a
chop that
I
watermelon.
want to get my.
You get fried chicken.
You got
I
I
I
need to
was
get my-
looking and then I went north and then I went south over here. Broadway's all
Oh yeah,
south.
you didn't find.
And then so I thought, what the heck?
Sliced bread.
I'm just Jeremy out for peace. I'm
Yeah.
Then I saw you in the window. So what's for sale?
Some stuff. We'll
Just
figure out
stuff?
in a minute.
Any of this stuff?
It's actually right behind you.
Thank you.
Most of it's at the show.
Oh. At what show? At the Jumbo?
Bread?
No, I'm fine. You mean most of it's at the gym
That's
show?
the
Yeah.
Archie Bunker chair, Cal. That's Archie's chair.
Who?
That's Archie's chair. We'll have to bring in another.
Tommy Bunker.
Yeah, that's Tommy Bunker. We're gonna have to get something for another chair in here.
There's
Archie
chicken
Bunker?
and
There's
chips.
food.
There's food right there.
That chicken smells.
We gotta get you a chair though.
We gotta get you a
Grab a
chair.
napkin.
We gotta get you a chair.
And then we just need a trash can.
Just a trash can?
It's over there,
Okay.
like a food trash. Oh, actually, here we go.
That way we don't make a mess.
Yeah.
I'm the one that'll make a mess.
You should eat something. I'm sure you're hungry.
I should.
I haven't had any chicken in a long time. I stay away.
There's
Try
bread.
to.
No, we were gonna get a rotisserie chicken and then we saw this one. Much better.
There's other stuff to eat. There was potatoes. Maybe not. Maybe
I
not.
don't think we were having this
How
many
can
people
we-
in here.
Right. I mean, my seat. I don't know what you call this.
I don't think we've ever crammed this many people in here.
Yeah.
Let's get this other chair here.
Ah.
Like a butt.
Oh, yeah, okay. Where'd this come from?
Safeway.
Oh, yeah?
Good.
Yeah. They don't do very good sushi there. Their sushi leaves a little something to be desired.
So here's a chair.
And I thought, when is February 7th? And I can look at that and I go, when is February 7th? Oh, that's today.
So that's how you found it.
Mm-hmm. I looked at the map and I go,
I feel bad.
wow,
I have blood sugar.
Well,
This is
welcome. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming.
thank you.
Nice chair there.
Hey.
I think we can get it in here.
That chair?
Yeah. Sounds like there's more people coming up.
And this is a display seat.
These are sittable?
This isn't.
No,
This
that
is-
that thing
This
can
is
be.
garbage. This
Oh.
needs to go out.
Okay,
Well, there we
now
go.
we're making room for the
Out
chair.
with the old and with the new. So, what are you needing help with that? Getting the call? Like, so the modem
How'd
router
you
doesn't
like
get
your-
messed up?
So who lives here?
Router.
Me,
You and who else?
me, and
And you?
me.
Hmm.
Me, and
Me.
Some people stay here occasionally.
Thank you, sir. Very kind.
David, right?
David, Armadillo. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
How are ya?
Are you?
Okay, what happened here?
Huh?
Are you at Rapper?
Someone pulled the plugs.
Rappa?
What?
Shit. What happened here?
I'm not. What's Rappa? Rapper River?
How's that?
We're
Well-
just playing there.
No, it's the monitor plug.
It probably fell out when you moved this chair beside it.
Now you got Facebook, it looks like. Oh, there's the monitor, yeah.
Monitor's back. There we
Good.
go.
So yeah, Rappa River.
Where have I heard that from, Rapper River?
It's the
the
show, bro. It's by
Remember the Boatner's gas station?
Mm-hmm, I think so.
That's-
Oh yeah, it says Rapper River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I used to think it was part of the Desert Inn until this past
Ray,
year.
what's his name? Ray
From Jason.
Arriaga.
Ray, oh yeah. Is that
Ray
Ray?
Arriaga bought it from Boatner like 40 years ago or something.
Mm.
Closed down the gas station. It only gets opened up for a couple of weeks a year as the gem show. And
Yep.
it's been like that for the last
The
40
gas
years.
station service center is the like the office.
Yeah, I've
Because you
seen
can
that.
walk in and tell
I
that's
knew
what
I
it
seen
used to
that
be.
somewhere, Rapper River.
Yeah, I had never heard the name Rapper River until last November. But that's where we are.
But I heard again, she mentioned it, and then I was remembering.
Yep. It's a cute little show. Wish more people came through.
At Rappa?
Yeah.
What, you guys have a stand there or a little
There's,
space? You guys have a space?
you have a stand, we have a stand.
Alright. That's progress. I didn't know. I'll have to come visit you before. When's your show over? Like this weekend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this Sunday, so you better do it.
Yeah, bring some friends with money.
With cashola.
Right.
We can
Well,
take a card.
Tommy, he was asking what was for sale, so maybe this is the time to bring the displays up.
Yeah. Well, I got some of this. I got some of my stuff here.
I missed it.
I mean, I got stuff.
Oh, and I'm charging my phone, so I can do a little, I guess pics or something.
There's some
until
leather
then.
pouches and stuff that I got.
I'll take a still for now.
Of what?
Just like the showing that this event happened. Photos from the event.
Well,
You know,
we're
we're all
recording.
about media coverage
The,
here.
the camera is running. This is Indie Crowd. There we have.
Hello.
Telling really
There's
cool
Robin.
stories.
There's Armadillo.
How's it going?
You didn't want to be on the
Yay.
camera, or you just getting up and
He
move?
slubbed up. Is it getting audio too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's everything.
You know,
Hey, hey, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
He's got nice choppers. That little.
No, we'll see. We'll see if Garrett stands me up.
He's hungry.
You know, he was supposed to be here at 7. We'll see. We'll see if he actually shows up or not.
So it looked like there was more people.
Huh?
I was once in a movie where they made us run in a circle, so that looked like there was a lot of people. We had to keep breathing in our hair and our helmets. So
Uh-huh.
it looked like different.
Right, you were like as an extra.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've done that before too.
where they just made you run in a circle because
Yeah.
there wasn't
We're
that
good.
many people.
Do you remember what movie?
Oh, I don't remember. It was so long ago. It was a million years ago.
Well, you know, I passed out a lot of flyers, and there was a fair bit of interest, and I'll be amazed if anybody actually shows
And we
up.
have more.
I'll tell you what. That Facebook. That Facebook is good for something like that.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
Oh shit.
but I've
That's
been
where I
blocking.
saw it, dude. I saw it every time.
I know.
What?
I know. Yeah, you know,
So we
hopefully.
posted? Here's a flyer. Pass it on to David.
You know, I've known you for 4 years. This is the first time I've ever heard you use your name. You always introduced yourself to me as Armadillo.
Yeah.
I've never heard you say your name before.
Right.
Oh, David. Yeah.
Armadillo to the world.
Yeah.
But this is not the world.
Nope.
We got armadillos in Arkansas,
Not.
not too smart ones.
They're kind of dumb.
That's
Well,
Armadillos
Well, I'm a
everywhere
little
are
hard-headed.
not real bright.
They get run over.
yeah, they do. They're kind
They're
of dumb.
cute. But
They jump in the way.
Yeah, they're not very
Oh,
smart.
Like, oh, look, it's big.
Didn't we talk about that once? About armadillos?
I had to chase one
Probably.
out of the street one time.
Yeah.
Down, I think it was in Tampa. It's the middle of the night, coming home. He's just sitting there right in the middle of the intersection, side street. You know, just sitting there, and I'm like, creep up to him, not moving. I pretty much I had to chase him. You know, I had to get him, push him. He's like, he didn't want to go. He's just sitting there. He's like, please leave me alone. No, I got to go through here, and I don't want to run you over, man.
Aren't they like the state animal of Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all dead in Texas on.
What?
Yeah, have you been down the 10? 10 goes on forever, and there's always crosses, and I think it's where people got out of their car and slit their throats because.
Because of all the dead armadillos, they couldn't handle it.
No, because the 10 never stopped.
Are you talking about between San Antonio and Houston?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're just depressed because they have to go towards Houston.
Maybe.
And of that, maybe the armadillos.
Well, it's just like you've been like driving for 10 hours.
Yeah.
You get there.
800 miles across.
Yeah,
and then you got
Texas is
another
no
probably
fun.
10 miles.
You know what other state's no fun to drive across is Nebraska. Or Indiana, north to south. That's a real winner.
They eat armadillos, huh? They cook them real a lot.
Probably.
Because some people eat them.
They got diseases and stuff.
It's like
I would-
possum eating possum.
I had a roommate, a cracker. I was in Florida. I had a roommate, a cracker, who graduated school early
Or just Area 51.
and went to work for No Nonsense
Right,
Painting Bowls.
Mexico.
And
Huh.
he's doing a route
Area
sales
51?
all through Central Florida. And he
Oh,
carry a broken
Nevada
down
is the real
shotgun in
area.
his car.
Mhm.
Oh.
And anytime he's spotted a
Right.
little,
It is.
you just pull
Yeah.
over,
Nevada,
The
yeah.
real one is.
They have the real Area 51.
grab the barrel of the
By
shotgun,
the Nevada test site.
Yeah, it's all
go beat the
fenced
thing
in.
to
You
death.
can't get in there. They'll run
Every
you
time you
off.
saw what?
Uh-huh.
But
Every time you saw
Armadillo.
Mm.
They
But
chase
the,
the armadillos down, beat them,
but
beat
we're
them
our
to death, and
area
come back
51
and make a
is
stew.
there at Rapper River.
What?
Our area 51 is at Rapper River.
Right. Now there's a
It's
rock
secret.
there's a rock and roll
You can't
band
find it.
named Area 51. That local one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Area 51.
What about our friends in Area 52?
I've never seen Area 52.
It's somewhere out
Is
there.
that next
I
to
have
you?
an REO Speedwagon,
It's next door.
What's that?
like an armored car. Used to be a police paddy wagon.
Uh-huh, you were talking about that. I didn't know there was, I'd never heard of that other than the band. I didn't know there
Someone
was
out
such a thing.
There was some guys in a truck right there. They're getting high.
Who?
Yeah.
People sitting on the truck getting high outside our
Yeah,
house.
and I asked them some,
Johnny's
is
house.
this the place? And they didn't respond. I don't think they speak English. But there was
In my parking
To
lot?
find out who they are.
Yeah, right there. I don't know who they are, man. It's
It's
just
still there?
right there. I just looked again.
Like random guys.
Oh, they're very random. I don't know who they are. There are two vatos out there and they're getting high. And
Do you know them?
I don't know them. I asked them, is this Hippie Haven? And they go, they didn't answer or nothing. And I go, you speak English?
They didn't answer?
They didn't even answer that. They're just, I think they're just buzzed. But
Alright. They're high and they don't speak English.
Probably students. They're probably students that are just trying to.
then I saw you walk by the window.
Oh, okay, so you figured out it was me.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this place is hard to find.
Yeah, it is. Even though it's like right here in the middle of things.
Yeah. Cause 64 North.
Hippie Haley.
Do you know Albert Tester?
Yes. He lives near here.
He lives where?
He's close to here.
Yeah, 9th Street.
I've been to his house before I came here.
Oh, really? I used to twist balloons with him.
Oh, cool.
You do what?
To twist balloons.
I used to work at the Pinnacle Peak.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
twisting
twisting balloons.
He taught me how.
That's cool.
For a long
It's a
time.
small circle.
What? He's talking over something. I better go out there. He might need some help.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you.
Oh, I feel better now. I'm so hungry, I can stand it.
Yeah, I know. I still need to eat some more. We're getting some good
Should have some chicken on this lobster.
There is chicken. Oh, yeah, bread.
See what? Passive aggressive bullshit.
What's
He's
going
with
on?
somebody named Marco, my new neighbor, and he works for Pelican.
What?
But
That guy?
he had to be passive aggressive first.
Did he leave?
No, he's with somebody.
Who is
He
it?
actually works for Pelican? No.
I don't know.
You're kind of
But whoever it is hasn't introduced himself to me. The new neighbor next door, this is his brother, and the dude was passive aggressive. And then he's going to deny that he's aggressive because that's the way passive aggressive people are.
So what? So you were telling right? You were telling him to leave?
He was like wouldn't tell me. You know, I said, hey, look, you know, who are you? Can I help you? No. It's like, who are you? What are you doing here?
And he's what? What did he say?
And he's like, you know, beating around the bush until I finally said, okay, I'll call the cops then.
Yes,
Right,
yeah,
why
see
are you
what
so
I mean?
sketchy?
Yeah.
See what
Why
I
is he
mean?
so sketchy?
I tried talking to them. They're like,
Yeah.
And he says he works for Pelican.
The rental company. But
oh, maybe
yeah.
that's what it is.
I mean, maybe he
And
does.
I already
but
got a
because
problem
he's
with
not
Pelican.
acting like
You
he's
see these
cool.
doors
Yeah.
all busted? I got burglarized again. No horn.
Oh,
The horn's going. I needed
And
that.
Pelican is really bad about getting back to you if you need help, but they really
I
want
had-
these
they-
places
you know,
rented
the dude
out
was
with, like,
here.
slumlords.
He looked at it, he said, yeah, I either got one next door in the storage or we'll take one off the apartment over there, and he did neither. Now you just unplugged it again. What did you
I
do?
did?
Yeah. I don't know what you did.
there it goes.
Oh, it's probably from the bread. I'm sorry.
Hey, look, there's my hand. It's all by itself. I think it's attached.
So are these guys doing anything besides just sitting there smoking?
I don't know.
High?
He said he's not getting high.
That smells something.
Would
It was out there. It wasn't.
you like to eat this cheese?
Give me a pen.
Get his number?
Holy shit. Look what you guys did.
I think this works.
I'm going to take his license plate number.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, in case something goes
His brother
missing.
hasn't introduced himself to me. And I got a
Then I thought, man, that guy's getting my car, man, and do something in my car.
Do you think he might? No, they're just like hanging out.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's still like they're just being sketchy. Like,
well, you know, they won't answer no questions, you know.
maybe just said, I work for Pelican. I'm new here. That could have been it.
Yeah.
All the other people around here do that. It's like a community.
Where do you live? You
I
live
usually
here.
stay at Grant and Alvernon, Chelsea and Sarah's place.
So
I
then,
stay here sometimes.
this is Tommy's joint.
This is Tommy's, yeah. And it's Tommy's studio, and I work here too. I help out with,
Huh.
you know, stone stuff. We got, you know, doing event planning,
So
website.
how's business over at Wrap Up?
I think it's slow.
My people
See, I
came
need-
in here and said, this guy's being weird out there smoking dope. We're done. Good night. Good night.
One more fucking time, dude.
Say what?
Gotta be one more fucking
Ah, fuck it. Fuck it.
Trespassing.
Cops will ask them what they're doing.
Trespassing.
Mhm.
See, now he's talking English.
Mhm. Right.
See, arts and crafts.
911, what is your emergency?
It's not really an emergency. It's a trespass issue.
Where at?
64 North Euclid.
Okay, is there a unit number?
64 North Euclid. There's a
Okay,
big, okay.
Just north of Broadway, just north.
Please stop police messenger.
Hi, at 64 North Euclid, in the parking lot, there's a white pickup truck, license number BXH4558. I think it was Arizona, wasn't it?
I didn't see it.
It's a white Japanese pickup truck, average size white man. I can't really see what real well. It's unclear what he's doing there. He's getting aggressive, and I just, yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. Would you please kind of come and see what's going on? I'm expecting guests tonight, and this guy's just sitting in the parking lot being weird. One of my guests came in, said he thought he was smoking pot out there. And then when I went out, he's just got real strange with me, got real aggressive, passive aggressive, which gets me all agitated, as people who know me know. And no, Sergeant Winsky doesn't need to deal with this. Somebody needs to come and talk to this guy and find out what he's doing in my parking lot, please.
Okay, and you said that he was a white male?
White male, yeah.
About how old is he?
Mid-30s, maybe early 40s.
Okay, what color clothing is he wearing?
I don't know.
Okay, and he's still in that white pickup truck?
Yeah, he's sitting there in the white pickup truck. Says he's waiting for his brother Marco, who is allegedly my new neighbor, who I have not seen yet. So I don't know. And like I said, he was getting aggressive and he started to get threatening when I raised my voice, so I just came inside and called you.
Okay, do you see any weapons?
No, and he didn't mention any.
Okay, and when did this happen?
Right now, right before I called you. No, I'm calming down. I'm calming down from it as we speak.
Okay, you said the license plate was BXE84558.
Boy, X-ray, hotel, 4558.
And your name, please?
Tommy Wasserberg, Wasserberg, and I repeat, this has nothing to do with Winsky.
Okay, and a good callback number for you?
This one, 520-241-2776.
Okay.
All right, we'll go ahead and put a call in place. If anything changes, call us back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just what I needed.
So he's here to pick up his brother, Marco.
I have no idea. All I know
Yeah,
is he
that's
got
what it
weird
sounds
with Dillo, and he got weird with me, and then he got threatening with me.
Yeah.
No, I
I
just
mean, that's not cool, but maybe that's the kind of person he is, and he really is still waiting for his brother. He's just a sketchy person.
which is fine.
Did you have a baseball
Did you just
cap on?
send me something?
I did not.
Someone did.
Somebody just walked that way, I don't know.
Oh, really? Yeah, we don't know what's going on.
So
Well,
this is what this event has turned into.
well, you need some peace
What,
out.
someone walked up to his car?
No, somebody walked that way.
Oh, there are people who were walking up and down the street.
Oh, maybe it was just somebody on the street. I don't know.
Could be, yeah. But if it's somebody, hopefully this person that's gonna like go, that Marco is gonna go to the car and he's gonna leave, and that's gonna be it. He's
That'd
been
be
there kind
fine.
of long too, so
He's
You
been
don't
there a
need them
while.
guys- You don't need them guys out there.
yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's real creepy, somebody sitting out there like that.
Because you guys need the parking for other people.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're having a party here tonight.
That's the thing.
Of course, Garrett's an hour late.
Right. Peruvian time.
Huh?
Peruvian time.
Hippie time.
Hippie time.
You can unburden yourself. Pick
Oh,
up
I'm fine, he just handed in my keys and so I was holding my food. I have my, stuff in the car, so I'll go get it maybe.
Yeah, you don't know if somebody's going through your car or not. That's what I was concerned about.
That's what?
You don't know if somebody's out in the parking lot going through your car. You
I mean,
know?
we can chat.
Oh, that's what I was looking at there. And I parked right next to
So
my
I saw
parking
just
lot.
left the street, I hope that's okay, but it was a white bird, so I think it was okay.
This neighborhood does have,
Cool. Robin with the dog is all that's there. What's the name of your dog?
Treasure.
Hi.
there is a little bit too much property crime in this neighborhood, but otherwise, it's real quiet.
Yeah, I know, I used to hang out at Albert Tester, she said she knows me.
Who?
Albert Tester, he's a balloon twister. I used to balloon twist with him. And all the, I lived here for like 14 years.
Ah,
I used to live down on, Blueberry Lane over on, off of Silverville.
I see.
Blueberry Lane. Oh, that's a good place.
And then he taught me how to do the balloon twisting, and I used to go down to restaurants and on 4th Street, and we used to balloon twist all the time. fact, Mary Tester's supposed to be coming down to visit me. I don't know if she'll make it.
Who?
His sister, Mary.
I've never met her.
They used to
Miss,
teach classes at the at
Hello.
like different restaurants and stuff. And we used to.
Hello,
Hello.
hello, Tommy.
That's me.
It's Marissa. Did you receive my emails?
Probably not. Recently?
I sent you emails to prove that they were making believe they were you.
Oh, that's a while ago. Yeah.
Okay, good. I want to let you know
I
that
think. Let me. Where did you send them? Where did you send them?
I don't know, a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. I removed my channel. I made everything private, and
I'm gonna have to do the same. I have to go into the court. I'm going into the court soon.
yeah,
Right.
I want to let you know something. They will stop at nothing. They could do this to you. They put me on every porn site that there is, with my real name. And that's why I took down my channel and I removed my face. And they have me on every porn site. They're claiming that I'm having sex with Robert McKim now. We're having an affair. They'll probably say I'm having an affair with you. And, you know, they
And they think they're invulnerable because the police won't do a fucking thing.
No. The FBI said that to write them an email, and they want me to go to try to get a lawyer because of the porn thing. See, when they start posting your address, they put you on every porn site. That's a little bit more serious.
Yeah, well, did you see what they do to me? Is they got a site that they bought my name and have that a site with my name.
And what did they say? What did they say?
I don't even know what's on it at this point. It just I don't even want to look at it. I don't even I have to keep I can't I don't I have a house full of people that are here right now for a trade circle. I'm in the middle of the gem show. I've been trying to avoid even thinking about these fucking people.
I didn't want to interrupt you if you're busy, but
yeah, this is not a good time.
Quickly, I'll talk to you another time, but I just wanted to say quickly that
well,
that
mark your calendar. I would like to conference with you like first thing Monday morning.
Well, I'm having I just got over the flu,
right.
And I'm extremely stressed out. I feel look, if your name was on and you're a woman with your address on every porn site in the world now, it's like, you know how scary that is for me as a woman and
Please.
with my address?
How about me as a person with a penis to have people running around labeling me a pedophile and child molester?
Well, it's horrific. It's absolutely horrific.
It's just, that's I could come around the street corner someday. Oh, look, you're that pedo. Let's kill you.
No, these people are. I'd say the worst website I've ever dealt with. They're the worst people I've ever dealt with.
They're all right. They're little neo-Nazis. They're scary fucking neo-Nazis. They're totally insane. They're totally sick. Fastest furries. Go Google fastest furry.
Yeah, and they're claiming I'm a hot Jewish sex, Marissa Morris, and, hot Jewish sex, and I'm having it with the pastor, and I'm fucking everybody in New York City, and, it's pretty much a very horrific thing to have somebody with my face saying that I'm just a porn star. Is these people, the police said, look, what they're doing to you, unfortunately, with men, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, but I'm not a man, which makes it even worse because I'm transgender. They're running around calling me a fake tranny, calling me all this shit. Yeah, I got a penis, and yeah, I'm keeping it. But
you're not doing anything. You're just playing music, and they're exaggerating things because they can't understand people that are.
I play music, and I write about politics. I am an outspoken opponent of industrial fascism. Have been for a long time.
That's great.
And that's really why they come after me.
Being transgender is not evil. I mean, they are evil.
I know.
And they're trying to make it sound like I'm a sexual deviant. You're a sexual deviant.
Yeah, well, all they're doing is projecting the denial of their own perversions on you. That's all they're doing. They're a bunch of fucking Schadenfreude junkies. They get off on pissing people off and seeing them get upset.
Well, I'm not upset as much as scared that my reputation will be ruined for life. Yeah.
Well, I could care less about my reputation because, you know, I am what I am and I'm a live performer and I do some pretty fucking bizarre things that are a matter of record. And I don't give a shit what some idiots have assumed about me that's just totally not true because too many people, there's a video record. People, you know, people know me. They've seen me in action. They know what I've done. These people are just making shit up and people who know me know that.
I think if you took your channel down and you started,
I intend to take the channel down. They managed to get me blocked from live streaming.
Create a pseudonym, create a new name, and just
no, because I am Tommy Jane Wasserberg, and this has been a crusade of mine. And you know, my stage name is Tommy Tudor, and this has been a crusade of mine for many years. Is that, you know, in the old days, you had to be identified to someone just to be able to log on to the fucking internet. You could not get on to the internet if you were a totally anonymous piece of shit sociopath. It was not possible.
I've now started a new channel that's anonymous, and I don't have anybody watching me because I'm terrified. I'm terrified of what is going on. I've never been put on porn channels. I don't want to be associated with that. And I'm scared. My real name, my real address, I'm afraid.
Well, see, this is absolutely, you know, this is it. This is why, you know, my camera's running because we're having this party. And you called on a running camera, and this kind of stuff is evidence. You know, I'm going to go into the court and sue YouTube and Facebook and Quora and a couple other sites where they fuck me around.
Yeah.
And there's clear bias. There's clear bullshit going on.
Don't put my name on YouTube, but don't say this is.
No, I want to be able to, you know, file a motion for class status and name you as a co-plaintiff.
Okay, well, I could give you information if I knew that the FBI wouldn't mind the complaint, you know,
Well, would you please, if you actually have a law enforcement officer of any agency that you're communicating with, please extend the request to that person that I'm begging that, you know, I'm having to sue under Title 42, Section 1983, the FBI and the TPD for discrimination against me for refusing to prosecute anything.
But if you put this on the internet, they're going to say that we're having an affair.
I'm not putting anything on the internet. I'm not going to put anything on the internet about this. I just need a name and address of a co-plaintiff. And it'll totally be confidential and on, you know, between you and me. Send it by email. Don't even speak it on the phone.
I don't know. I'm so scared. You don't know how scared I am.
I know how scared you are because I know dozens of other people in the same kind of position. I know what's going on. I know how you feel.
I'm feeling more scared by the moment, especially with all the violence going on, and I'm getting, especially towards Jews, this sort of anger, and it's making me really scared.
What's the name? Megan?
My dog, Treasure? Yeah, I know. You know, and I grew up in the streets of the city, so I'm not worried about it. You know, people love me. The people in this town don't put up with violent bullshit.
Well, I'm glad you're living in a good place. But these people come from Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia.
I know, but you know, this is Tucson. You stick out if you're acting like that.
Do you think I should worry about being on porn sites? Do you think that's a big deal?
I think that you should just relax and try to ignore them as much as possible.
Well, I took my channel down so they can't talk about me anymore because there's no channel, there's not going to be a website. So what are they going to do? I'm going to be on porn sites, and then people can see me, and meanwhile I can try to get legal help.
Well, if you're going to have to go after the porn site hosts with DMC. I mean, you send me a link to some of this stuff you're talking about, so I know what you're talking about.
What, the porn sites?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that probably later. It's about 10 o'clock my time.
Yeah,
but enjoy your night and try not to get too upset about it because they are complete and total scum. And
no, I'm going to destroy these people somehow eventually. This has been going on for me, and you know, it's the issue is between people who are online, particularly artists and educators, trying to sell their goods and services,
Yeah.
getting totally like terrorized by sociopathic gangs of like video gamers that do this for fun on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people like myself who are clearly, you know, someone who's a person of interest to the government. They have professional shills inciting these people, feeding them shit to go after me with. You know, there's one of them. There's a Marine Corps guy who's done hundreds. He's ripped hundreds of GIFs from my videos. And you know, I'm a comic. I make faces. I make strange faces. You know, so what? But they, you know, and they take my words out of context and these expressions and call me.
They do
You know,
that to everybody.
yeah, right. But
you're
this
saying
was a
that
guy, a
the-
professional, did this hundreds of gifts, and then he sold it to the kid that's stalking me.
Are you saying that the government is hiring these kinds of people behind the scenes to
Oh, yeah.
ruin certain people?
Oh yeah, the government, and not necessarily the government. It's more like corporate interests trying to control the government.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, don't you think there's any good people out there that care about what's right?
Well, I haven't found any attorneys ready to go to bat for me.
Well, at least we have people, we have each other, we have
Well, yeah.
support each other, emotionally support each other in this terrible situation, and that's what I think. I want to find more people that are going through the same thing. And just because you're a trans, I mean, Tommy Jane to me sounds like a nice name. I'm not judgmental. I mean, who cares about it? See, they want to take the focus off of what you do.
Right. And
Your music onto something that doesn't mean anything.
well,
They're just
you know,
people.
they diss my writing, they diss my music, they diss my stonework.
They do
Fine.
that to everybody, though.
Yeah.
They
So
diss
what?
everybody.
So what? They're just stupid children. They're
Okay.
mean, stupid, talentless children who go off on their intellectual superiors.
But one thing that's wrong about this is okay to insult somebody's talent. That doesn't bother me if they want to say I have no talent. What bothers me is this incessant stalking of my name and address everywhere on porn sites, that I'm a sexual deviant, that
Well,
I'm a
yeah.
you know, that's, or that I kill people. They've accused Dr. Robert McKim of killing people.
They
have a
accuse
video
me
of
of hounding some woman on YouTube to suicide. When the fact of the matter is that we had a short little blow up and I blew her off completely, and it was months before she finally actually killed herself. But because they found this one video where she was railing at me for railing at her for doing a job for me that she didn't do quite the way I wanted her to do it, and then she got weird. They picked up on that and they decided, okay, I'm the one that hounded her to suicide.
Did you know her in person? Did you know
No,
her?
it's just somebody I met on the internet, some wacky, she's a wacky video blogger.
You know, they're looking for anything. I would stay low key when you make these videos of talking. I mean, it's very cathartic and intelligent, but the thing is, I think it's better not to not to do anything, just your music, not even to talk, and just to talk to friends and people about how you feel, because putting yourself out on the internet.
Well, I'm not going to talk about that shit anymore. They're cut off. I'm not, let them try and decide what my reactions to them are. And let them be surprised when the paper starts to fly. Because I'm filing next week.
How many things have they put on the internet that you're a deviant pedophile? How many things were
Oh
you?
God, who knows? Who knows? There's hundreds of comments in that thread on me, and they got 10 channels at least on YouTube. That YouTube blocked me from streaming for some unknown reason. They wouldn't even explain specifically. Same thing with Quora. Quora just totally fucking banned me without saying why. And I know why. It's because I'm getting gang reported. I haven't been able to post at Facebook anywhere. I'll be able to post for a week or two, and then I'm blocked for a month at Facebook.
It's only us.
And that's been going on for the last 2 years.
Well, the internet is not really a healthy place, and it's only for people with money.
Well,
They made it. The corporate people have made it. The corporate evil people have made it that way.
If you go to Facebook and look at a group called Tucson Hippie Community,
think they are.
This is like the Tucson hippie community. There's a couple of thousand people, and like 1,500 of them live in Tucson, and it's all age brackets. Hello, sweetie. Hi. You want attention? What's your name? Who? Precious?
Treasure.
Treasure. Hello. But you know, the Tucson hippie, you know, these are people that just use the internet to, you know,
Hey.
keep up with each other, to
Yeah.
talk about events.
Well,
And-
hippies are not cool anymore because the corporations made it that way. They made hippies weirdos. Now
Yeah,
the
well,
hippies are
you know,
no
the
longer cool people.
hippies helped build the internet. You know, this is what I was talking about in the old
Well,
days.
they're cool people to me, but not to
Well,
corporate people anymore.
I don't.
They
It doesn't
become
matter.
very-
It doesn't matter. We built the internet. Our networks have been.
Yeah.
We've had pure networks on the internet since the '80s.
Yeah.
And you know, the hippie indie music and arts festival community, we built that internet. We're part of the building of
Are
it.
you from Tucson originally?
No, Chicago.
Okay. Yeah, I thought because Tucson is like a warm place where a lot of hippies would want to live because they wouldn't want to live too cold in a cold
Well,
climate.
it was attractive to the hippies in the late '70s because when they closed the
Okay.
mines, the whole southeastern corner of Arizona, the land prices tanked.
Yeah.
And so the hippies were coming from the east, getting away from the Rust Belt in the late '70s, early '80s, and a lot of them bought land out here. They pretty much own Bisbee.
But you have to keep cool in the summertime, isn't it?
It's not
extremely
easy,
hot there.
no.
Well, I feel pretty depressed and devastated, but I have to kind of laugh it off, you know, in some way.
That's the only way. That's the only way. And I'm going to set you down right here because this is what Spirit tells me is, don't even waste your time and
Yeah.
energy.
I
Don't
think that
please.
Yeah, I think the internet is not real, but when people have your real address, they can post your
Well, this
face
is
anywhere.
what I'm saying is
pedophile,
this
you're
has
a
been
deviant.
the struggle that I've been engaged in for almost 20 years now, is that people who are on the internet with their real documents showing, because they're trying to do business or whatever, are being targeted by these sociopaths. And
Do they have your real address?
yeah, I mean, it's public knowledge.
On TV Farms, do they have your real
Yes, they have my parents' real address.
address? Not good.
They even have my social security number.
Oh my God.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
They have your social security number on the internet?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I really don't care. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Please, I gotta go. I got a house full of guests here.
Okay, all right. Have a wonderful night. Enjoy your night.
All right, bye-bye. Kiwi Farms victim. Jewish musician
Wow.
in New York.
Is that like something they're targeting then?
She's another target of theirs. She had to take her channel down, and because they're posting her picture and shit on. I don't know. She's gonna send me
What
links.
did she do that makes them target her?
Who knows? She's
Just be eccentric
that's all it takes.
and react to them?
You don't even have to react, but that helps.
The truck still there's somebody there.
Hey,
I'm gonna take off, man.
Oh,
I got like my chest is kinda. I need to go home and.
sorry, we didn't take anything out that.
Well, you guys are gonna be there tomorrow
Oh
and the
yeah,
next
we're
day.
doing the show
Right.
the next 4 days, and
What,
they will.
what
take-
time? What time do you start over there?
9-ish.
Yeah,
9-ish?
9-ish, yeah.
Yeah, I'll come over and
9:30.
see you guys, man.
They'll come at 9.
I gotta get some.
Okay.
I got congestion.
Yeah,
No,
so
you don't
you
need
take care
to.
of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish they put me on a porn site. Jesus. Nah, I'm just joking.
So you know where to find us?
Yes.
Don't be a stranger. Yeah, stop by here anytime.
Hey, you guys have a good night.
Thank you, nice to
Nice
meet
meeting
you.
you, babe.
Nice to meet you. Bye, puppy.
You're stuffing my face.
So somebody else showed up?
She's housebroken properly. You can let her leash go.
February. She won't leave my side.
No, she won't leave your side. She'll come over here and bother me.
So what kind of channel was it? I mean, what kind of program was it? Like a comedian, or?
I just, is she okay to give something to? She's begging.
Knock, knock. Hi, come on in.
Come on, yay. Come on.
Hey, what's it?
Yes, treasure.
Hi, treasure.
She won't bite.
Treasure. Hey, sweetheart. Come on, she is a sweetheart.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Oh, hush. I'm good.
It's
Don't
okay.
get up. Don't
It's
get up.
okay.
That's my new phrase. Don't get up. Don't get up. When we were young, we all jumped up. Now, don't get up.
Hi, nice to meet you. Right, I'm Ariana.
Hi, Ariana. I'm
There's
Garrick.
food over
Robbie.
here.
Tommy.
I was taking a frequent look on Facebook this morning if you check.
I check Facebook about once every 3 weeks.
That's cool.
This is for you, but I gotta write something
Oh,
in.
Time.
oh, too cool.
Yeah, during Tucson, I haven't looked at Facebook at all, and so far people
Garrick's book.
called me
Oh,
to
wow.
tell me. People
He's
called me
gonna
to
sign
tell
it.
me there's different people have died, and it's just horrible. Billy Sean, you knew him? Dead now.
I mean, I'd have to see pictures.
Yeah.
There's
Mm.
chicken,
There's a seat right here, sir.
some chips,
I'm
Oh, yeah,
vegetarian, so
Load up.
I think the bean dip is going to be, well, it's not, it's got milk.
yeah, that's good. I'm good.
Okay.
Oh,
And,
Brad, thank you. Long day, hungry.
And there's some blueberries.
I don't know.
Got some blueberries.
And this bread looks beautiful. And this is some kind of bean thing
Yeah, it's
here.
beans and avocado and cheese.
You know, it's something I cannot spill it too badly on me.
Sure.
Oh, there should be chips. I've got a plate back
Yeah, anything was in a paper plate, a paper towel will do, something like that.
Oh, paper towels are right there on the other side of the bag,
I think.
around to the right
Oh,
here.
there they are.
Oh, is this okay?
I can use a plate. I can manage. I can do that. I'm just gonna eat right now and hang out and eat.
That's fine.
But it's been a long day.
Yeah.
I know, that's what we kind of, in the year, go, we're hungry. Just put it on our face.
So I'm just gonna scoop out of here the beans and the cheese and the stuff all together.
Give me a cup, okay?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good without a cup. I'm less interested in drinking than I am in eating. After I eat, maybe I'll get thirsty.
So you actually got to meet all those guys?
Which
Kerouac
ones?
and Kesey and them?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did.
I ran into Ken Kesey at on the field in Anaheim. They were all heckling Bob Dylan. And I didn't, you know, it was like I saw the guy, and we made eye contact, and he smiled at me, and this green hand kind of came out of his heart, and one came out of mine, and they shook. And I didn't realize, right there in the moment, it's like, I know this guy's like somebody famous. And then it's like, dawned on me, oh yeah, that was Ken Kesey.
Kesey, I ran into him a bunch of different times, and many times it was in the middle of what I call like my movie, our movie.
Right.
He jumped into it, and
I
yet
call my it's a soap opera. It's a 24-hour soap opera. I call it as the stomach churns.
I eat hot sauce.
no, I like it, but then I don't digest it as well as I used to.
Okay.
So if I don't have some Pepsid or something, I don't do so good with hot sauce. Oh.
Getting old, huh?
Well,
Are you
better than the
70 yet?
alternative. No. 69 in a couple of months. I've been reliving the 60s. It's not that bad.
Well, you're reliving. There's like, I just, I look around me and I see, I got the 420 store and I'm looking around. It's like, well, these are the same people in a different place that I've always been. These have always been my friends since I was young. There's these kind of people.
What's funny is I went back east to New York, got my books on, and some of the same people that come out here in the winter
Yeah.
are back there.
Well, do you know Arden? From I don't know her last name, Arden something or other. She had a store called Jabberwock in Utica for years and years, and now she's out in Santa Cruz. What's the name of her store in Santa Cruz? I just had, we were on the same trail in the '90s, and I hadn't seen her since 1999. And she showed up 2 booths over from me the other day.
World gets a little smaller.
Yeah,
Were you out there vending today also?
Yeah.
they're here from Eureka Springs.
It's
Of all
nice.
places.
It's beautiful.
Hardly ever see anybody from Eureka Springs anywhere, but
And
in
Lance is also from
Degrees
Eureka.
up here.
Yeah.
That guy,
Right.
well, you
That was
came
one
with
leg?
you, didn't you?
The one
You know
lady
the
got?
guy that walks around
The
Ford
youngster.
Avenue and
Yeah.
stuff?
I know he was one leg, I just noticed him limping.
There used to be a lot of Ukrainian experience people here because of the crystal booth.
Christmas time.
And then, Brazil jumped in on it.
Out there.
And now China's jumped in on it.
I see.
It's harder and harder to make it.
West Coast.
There was, oh boy, there was a guy,
But
and they're both, well, the guy
That's so
from
funny.
Columbia,
There's so many people
you know,
that
they've got
I saw out there.
the needle points, the
I've seen
singers,
right here.
that's
real
cool.
bright
Yeah.
optic
Yeah.
pure singers. He did well with those, he sold that all out.
Hey, how do you feel about a photo?
And there's a group from, and this is all village dug, this is all hand dug. There's a
Can I
group
take a
there
photo
from
of you?
Zambia.
Please, go ahead. Just make sure the light's good.
Get the good side.
Cool.
There's a group of women there from Zambia
Page.
that have beautiful citrine that they didn't handle. I mean, it's all hand dug, it's all village industry, but they didn't do it real well, and the stones were beat up pretty bad. But I talked to them about it.
People don't get it. People want those actual tips to be really careful.
Well, I explained that to her. For a collector or a healer, once it's been dinged, it's not worth anything. You know, it's okay for a little chip on the side, but ding that tip, goodbye. It's no good for energy work, and it's no good in a collection.
It's good for teenagers to have it wrapped around their neck,
Right.
but that's the low end.
Well, I mean the big ones. I mean, I see them all over the place with the tips chunked.
Get back.
It's like, who's gonna buy that for that kind of price?
Right. Thanks for the food. I needed this.
Sit down.
Yeah, necessary.
We got sugar too, if you need that.
No,
We got the sugar fix too.
I got beans and olives and seems like a little guac and some sour cream. And
Oh, would you like? I'll get you the olives.
I'm really okay.
Oh no, these are special olives.
Ah,
These are special olives.
Why are they special?
Why are they special?
Michelle likes olives.
I like olives. I'll have some more.
I just don't know
They're-
what kind of special he's talking about.
They're
There's gonna be at least one for everybody, yeah.
they're
These are
fried.
special olives.
As in
The
Tommy
No, I don't want to.
work.
The tree grows in front of the police headquarters.
I don't do,
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
right.
What did you call them?
What?
What do you call this variety of olive?
I didn't, did I?
Yeah, you gave it some name that had to do with the police station.
No.
copper olives.
Cop olives. But they were a little bitter.
Cappadocia.
My favorite olives that I've
Nobody thought that was
come to
funny.
love
Well,
is they're sun-dried olives from Peru.
They're still a little
Wow.
bitter.
Oh my
I think that's more not because of cop shops,
ones that come
because
in
it's right
2
off the
gallon
street.
jars that you
No,
get.
no, these
Yeah.
are in a plastic bag,
How's that street taste?
what do they call that? Airtight or whatever.
What's that big jar you get?
Oh, those are just black olives that are like sun-dried too.
Like 2 gallons
But
of
the
them.
ones that come from Peru are just amazing. They're like eating steak. They're like they take these olives and they sun-dry them, and then they put herbs and olive oil.
Wow.
And then they put them in these bags and they. Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Are you also from Eureka Springs?
Yeah, but I used to live here for about 14 years. I lived here. I lived over on the west end over there.
You set up at Rapper River.
Yeah.
It's a busy show.
I
It's
like
been
that.
dead.
Busy,
think
but
so.
we don't
It's
make
better
money
now.
yet.
It's
But
been very bad.
I mean, I go by there. I shop with those
Hey,
Mexican guys who are up
stop
in
it.
front.
Stop it.
That's the guys next
Okay.
to the show. With the miners
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the guys with the cases and a little fancier setup. Because the guys with the cases are overpriced and the stuff ain't that good.
No, I mean, no, this is, they got flats of like calcite and flats of desert roses and stuff like
Oh
that.
no, that's the guys in the Rapid River show. The Mexicans next door on the corner of
Expensive, yeah, I know.
that's where I'm getting I get my fire agates mostly from them.
Yeah, they have a bunch of that, don't they?
Really nice. Very nice. Like I bought one for $1 the other day. Brought it back to the booth, worked on it for about 10 minutes, and sold it for $10.
I'll tell you that lady
Oh, sure.
that's up front. She's
I got one that I'm working on now that
all those big geos.
Two of them. I'm working on now. One of them was all crusty and brown, and it's like I saw a little green peeking out. I said, "That's a good one." It was $1, and sure enough, I get the crust out there, just all over the stone. And then another one, the $6 one. But
Oh, yeah, that's the way to do it.
I hardly have to do anything to it except shape the edges and just get all the stuff that didn't have fire off of it. And that's pretty much all I had because they're windowing them down really nicely. I hardly have to do any digging on any of them. And just clean them up. But there's no market.
Right.
Nobody's even noticing my opals or my fire agate.
It's a tough market for cabs right now.
Absolutely. And I specifically don't compete
And there's
in that
sauce.
market.
Right, yeah.
Because of that. It's been that way for years.
What are these?
I don't cut anything. I cut the way the stone wants to look. I'm cutting
I think
the
so.
stones that people are looking for
Oh, they're
healing.
like converted,
And I don't care
Put
what
these in the back.
the Indians
We
are
got
selling by the
Tommy
kilo.
wants part of that, but
I mean, it's annoying when they see $4 rhodochrosites and $2 labradorites. It's real annoying when I see $1 pup hearts. But my hearts are cut out of, I'm not doing a uniform shaped heart. I'm doing whatever,
The
just
stone chose, yeah.
yeah, I'm freeforming it, and it's art. And hey, fuck you if you're going to teach it. Go see the teach it guys. I'm an artist, and I get my buyers. They're not seeing my high end stuff, and they're I've got
Yeah.
high end cutting raw. Yeah, they're just they're either squawking on the price,
and this is some kind of sauce.
or they're just not seeing it at
Looks
all.
like an apple fritter.
No,
Very from okay.
So I know
Maybe this should go
I know
away.
I'm competitive on
The
all of
apple
it.
fritter?
Nobody's
Maybe it should be put back.
nobody's
I don't
getting any of
know,
this.
that's
I haven't
what it
seen
looks
anything
like.
Yeah,
near
probably
this.
it is.
Probably fine.
I'm
So I
calm.
didn't drink it. Oh yeah, I did. This
Calm
should be in
me
here.
down, this is good.
I haven't seen this finished or rough.
Water?
Oh
my God.
Suit
Huge light, gorgeous.
with the gel.
Jelly, yeah.
Alright.
Yes, I haven't seen that finished or rough. And this was the best piece, and I just, it was somebody's end pieces. It was somebody's leftover scrap that they sold. This one's not quite as good, but it's dark. It's got the dark. The dark's a little more.
Alright, we're gonna go live.
Are we gonna go live?
I guess you started talking about stones.
Oh, okay.
Just for a short time.
Okay. Well, I've had the camera running straight along.
Oh, okay.
Fine, I just wanna eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Easy to talk
Yeah.
Well,
after eating.
Yeah. After we eat, I'm doing the talking right now.
You go right ahead, please.
Cool. Well,
I'm doing the chewing.
whenever we're done eating.
$8 a gram for stuff that was not quite this good
Right.
was the best I could find.
It's more expensive than that out there.
I doubt if it's all real, but the Moldavite's way down this year. I've seen it as the chips for as little as $1 a gram.
Yeah, well, they got a lot of Moldavite floating around now. A few years ago, 2-3 people had it. And now, 23 people have it. So whatever
Alright.
show you're at, you can find it.
What if there's some moldavite at Rock River?
There,
Yeah, there is.
the kid that they're with had bought a little bit.
Oh, cool.
But I remember when he's talking about like.
There's
you
the
couldn't find
Colombian.
it, and it's like
This is,
only a few.
real bright.
people
Mhm.
had it.
Well, that's sparkly.
they're real bright, and then they did a good job on the tips too. He's got some big ones still left on the table where the tips are
Yeah, we
decent
used to work
shape.
right
And
next
they
to that.
got big pieces, but they were expensive.
Yeah.
There are
Right, that was
also
the
the great
Company
agates
or
all over
whatever.
the place.
Yeah, the great bag at that 2 years ago, somebody showed me a piece of it, and I just, what is that?
Cool shit, huh?
I have no
Have you
idea.
seen it cut?
Uh-uh.
I
I
got
just
some
do little
pictures.
botryoidal, like
I
circlets.
bought a
like,
bunch of it.
Like
Rhodochrosite?
It's got it's peppered.
it's speckled.
I have a picture of it.
It won't. You got the picture
I have a picture.
of the no, I have. Where is it?
Yeah, I remember when.
I mean, this is the one that we pass it around.
Well, that you've got a picture of the specimen, right?
Yeah.
I have a picture of calves.
I think the truck went away.
Good.
I'm parked right out there.
No,
Yeah,
there
this
was
is
a
the-
truck out.
The specimen type.
Oh yeah, that's the specimen. That's what I'm seeing. I haven't seen much cut. Maybe I haven't seen any cut.
I haven't. This was the first time I've seen it cut. Was the guy brought like a boatload of it. It's in the corner of the show.
I mean,
You ever done any business with Mark
like,
from Madagascar?
like it fell
Jobin.
through, or is
Huh?
it- or is
From
it stuff
3MP or
that
something.
somebody
What's this
got
called?
He's the guy that's got that whole side yard behind Grateful
That's
Dog.
right.
I've been doing business with him for.
Me too.
That's what I
Since the
remember.
early '90s for me.
That's what I thought too, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
That Mickey, he's one of the first people to even do it.
Moonrock, that's something
Boatner.
else.
Before Boatner sold it to
Boatner,
Roy.
right.
Before
Boatner, they used to
Boatner
be
sold it to
Boatners.
Roy Arriaga,
And yeah.
Boatner invited Mickey to come in there and show. Boy, you can't even get him to talk politely unless you've got $500 bills in your hand.
Mark.
Mickey,
Oh.
the guy with the crystal cola, he was unbelievably polite to
He
you.
was very nice to me. but
He's not, because you weren't, as soon as you start kicking his tires, and then you see, he wants to see the money. You don't want you kicking his tires.
Formed by meteorite impact in southern Germany.
I want a piece of gold.
I take with Tektite.
Make a necklace out of it. Moldavite. I'd like to get a piece of moldavite.
So I guess it's chicken for lunch tomorrow, huh?
I guess our advertising didn't work real well. There were people saying they were coming,
Right. I mean,
but it's okay.
the word of mouth seemed to work just as
Yeah,
well.
well, the people that were actually showing, like Gypsy Tripper, for instance,
Yeah.
Who's that?
he's going to be too wasted. Did you see how big his place is? And he's
Yeah.
all alone in there. He's not coming.
Yeah. He's,
No way.
he's over busy.
Yeah, no way.
I don't know why whoever's hiring him there doesn't hire somebody else unless he should hire
I
somebody
thought that
else.
was his trip.
Maybe.
I invited
I
Mike
got the
Martis,
impression that it was his trip. He's running it alone.
Mike
He's
and
running
Ben,
alone. He's been running alone for years.
They said they were, he said they were coming.
Who?
Mike and Len.
Why the fuck is this doing this to me?
There's cookies and apple butter, and looks like there's something else.
I'll get hungry for that in a while, but I just needed this belly filling, this bread and all that dip and bean and
Mhm.
stuff. Wow.
This
Tasty.
is really
Good
strange.
spot, thank you.
I hope it's the monitor going south and not the computer. Seems to be the power cord.
Pretty set up at Papa.
Seems to be the power cord for the monitor's not quite working right.
Decorative metalwork, bronze castings, stainless steel castings.
Now where is that sucker? That must the day
Casting is
before.
Once you can cast, you can make anything. Until when and you can't do granulation, some other, just other stuff, but basically castings and stuff.
Well, shit. Oh, what's with my monitor? This is really annoying. I've never had this happen before. Never had anything like this happen before.
Thank you.
I see you got a couple of 3 hangers, connectors that are hanging there.
No, it's the power for the monitor keeps cutting out.
I guess the police aren't tracking.
I would imagine they're not. They don't. It's okay. It's really okay. The more they ignore me and refuse to respond to my complaints, the stronger my case against them is going to be for discrimination.
used to live over on Stone, and
You wanna hit this, Tommy?
Yes, please.
Mama,
Well, what you
The
got
Stone
here?
in Navajo, the sweaty
Lake
sweets. When did
Fan.
you live there?
What's in it?
well, I broke my ankle about 3
Yummy.
years ago, and I was in this place that my mother would come out here for, it's a long story.
What year was that?
2014? No, 13?
Really? Wow, I was hanging out there at that same place,
But
Navajo,
anyway,
and the
every
sweaty
other-
sweets.
Every
What?
other night, the police were there.
Yeah.
And they were raiding houses because of.
What's up, Treasure?
Yeah. down
Nice
there.
meeting you.
Yeah.
And
How'd you
I
end up over
Pretty
there?
good
Well,
for
because
35.
I had, it's a long story, but I didn't have a place to stay, and my brother-in-law
I just
had
can't
a
afford that.
triplex there that was empty.
Mhm.
So I asked him
first
if I
one.
could stay in it, because I didn't have a place to go.
I have
It's
to
like
be able to
$50 a
find-
gram.
I have to find,
I had broken my ankle. so
Yeah.
I
juice for it,
couldn't
huh?
walk,
Huh?
and I was in
I
a
did about
wheelchair,
$50 a
so-
gram for the
But I
juice.
didn't, he had,
Oh, you
facing
come with it?
the street
Well,
there, and he
somebody
had,
gifted
I
it to
had
me
all
and it was
metal
full.
doors.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
bars on
nice
the
of them.
windows
Yeah.
and everything.
Facing
But a
Navajo,
lot of
right?
Good
nights,
luck
I'd be
retailing it.
there and
It was
I'd
like a big building with many units, right? And they were all
not a
kind of-
really big building, there's a triplex.
Oh, are you
only a
beautiful?
triplex.
Give
Yeah.
kisses.
Across the street from the sweaty
Alright.
sweets.
Probably, yeah.
Do you know the building I'm talking
I
about?
think
Arrgh.
so,
Treasure.
like a brick building.
Treasure.
Not really, or no, it's like a big, there's like,
Let's
yeah, it's
get
like a
this
big
turned around a
building
little
with
so you can see
metal
it too.
fencing
Check
and
Yeah.
several units.
Yeah,
I thought it
check
was like
it out.
6 or
You broke the
7,
meat.
I don't know
I
how
know,
many
I know.
units.
But anyway,
You go
but
good.
every night,
I'm part of the pack. I'm part of the
almost
pack.
every other night, there was.
No
No
crowds.
purple terry.
Yeah,
You'll get
like-
it.
They'd walk
This is
up
really
the street,
annoying.
Yeah.
and,
Take your
you know,
time, you'll get it.
And I was on
Well,
the corner,
this-
so I always got to get home.
Hello.
Hi! It sounds like it was the same place.
But I had people knocking on my
Uh-huh,
door,
sounds like it.
and I would never.
Hi.
Because I
Hi.
didn't
Hi,
have
Mike.
money.
You do.
Did you ever know
Hi,
a
man.
girl named Paul?
Hi.
Paul and what's her name?
I didn't really know.
Teresa. Paul and Teresa.
We got, we bought some firewood.
Okay.
We can
Pretty
like
good.
take this
Yeah.
outside if you like. We'll hang out by the
I
fire.
just need to relax and chill, as long as I don't have
I
to
guess you're
stand on my
pretty good.
feet
You're
and lift
working
rocks.
every
I'm
day.
happy.
Gym show type stuff.
Well,
And,
dig.
That's
and
coming
now
up.
it just feels more
Yeah, it's
chill.
coming up
It's
now.
almost done.
We
It's
can-
a
We got
little
chicken
people-
This is
Yeah.
something,
We got
my God.
Just
Chicken.
selling.
Thank you for coming.
That's nice.
That's
Yeah, they're
cool.
open up to sit down.
Chicken in the
But
bag.
I've never
I
seen
wanted
it
to
quite
ask
like
where
that,
I
where,
could
you know,
put
Nikki
my
looked,
location.
oh, that's
And
Chris
the fire
Cola.
pits.
No,
It's
it's like
like-
pretty well, they're hard to tell apart in the
Yeah,
pictures, but
right,
that's
where
my
the
guess.
chairs are and the other
The
one.
blue,
Okay.
I'm gonna do that then
Okay.
when I come back.
I have some blue opal
Oh, it's up to you.
Oh, man.
that,
There's a dog here though.
Oh.
Are you allergic to dogs?
No, not at all. If I was scared of dogs, I'd go with him, and I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Beautiful what you got in
No, I
there.
don't
Oh,
think I
thank
have
you.
any blue opal that I have with me. It's much,
I don't know what
this,
is it.
this stuff doesn't have the
It
dendrites.
looks like
It's ma-
For
is it
one.
malachite?
Yeah, but a lot
And
of,
malachite.
what he's, you know, I think this is
Green
nicer
jasper.
than the
That's
stuff
probably
with the
green
dendrites,
jasper.
and he's
I
selling
know,
it
green
too great.
Debbie made it.
And one of them is the dendrites.
Really?
Debbie,
Shit, there
yeah,
it goes
Debbie.
again.
Eli,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, nice work.
Yeah,
maybe,
this is where
maybe that white cable.
Where did you now?
What? No, it's this cable right here. It's the monitor cable.
Yeah,
Take your time.
thing.
And
My
so,
name's Michelle.
Probably should just take it down and put it back on.
Is that your dog?
Yeah, that's fine.
Isaac.
My dog.
Your dog, it's his
Your
dog.
No.
Got it, I got it. I'm a real dog person.
I'm Robin.
Hi, Tommy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing okay.
Robin, Michelle, Ariana,
Yes. Jack.
Tommy,
Jack.
Treasure.
I don't know, is
Treasure.
it Jade or Jack?
Yes.
You're the expert.
The
Ariana.
expert is this guy.
Ah.
No, that's
Um,
Ariana.
Oh,
This is
what am
Jade
I,
or Jasper.
you're the expert.
what am I, oh, I'll tell you.
I'm just, he's his real
I-
expert.
Probably tell you.
So I
He's
kinda
a
have
real
to walk
expert.
over here.
Hi.
See there?
Ho, 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 ho.
It looks to me like you know, the Wyoming or British Columbian jade, kind of the
I wanna
speckly
look at it
stuff.
really closely in the light.
But there's
Okay.
also,
Because
there,
it also
I
looks
wouldn't
a lot like
I can pick-
zoisite,
no, I don't think so.
with that black in it.
Yeah, I
I'm
know
gonna
what
take it
you're
off.
saying. I don't think
Wait,
it's
wait, wrong
zoisite
one.
though.
Take your time.
Wait,
Well, it could be. It could be zoisite with
Wait.
the ruby.
Yeah.
It's very dark
I got
though
too
for
much
zoisite,
around
but
here on
that's
my neck.
good.
I don't know how you guys remember all these stories.
You learn them one at a time.
Yeah,
That's the
Well-
whole trick is one at a time.
I wasn't sure, and
Got it.
I think somebody said, I think it is Jasper, though. I think you were right.
Right, we're gonna start the live video.
Ariana, right?
Uh
Let's
oh.
start.
Yes.
We're good.
Lynn.
Lynn.
Well, I'm looking at this.
Robin.
Robin.
See that red there?
Treasure.
Treasure.
That's zoisite.
Treasure
That's
is
zoisite.
That's what Ruby, and
That's
that's some
absolutely
high
zoisite.
quality
Yeah,
material.
that zoisite was ruby in it.
He was like, I'm
Absolutely,
loading the
that's a
wood. And I'm
beautiful
like, do you want
piece.
some help? And
That's
he's
a,
like,
that is a
you
beauty.
do what
We
you
like
want.
that.
And I said, there's a
Young
dog
lady.
here. And he's like,
That is
Young
that is a
lady.
lovely piece.
Yeah, wait.
what is it?
This is ruby in zoisite.
Ruby
The
in
little red
zoisite.
streak up at the top. The red streak up at the top is ruby. And this is a material called zoisite. It's green zoisite. Blue zoisite has a fancy name. Tanzanite.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar sort of with
This is-
And
tanzanite.
this is
is
like
a
real
zois-
rich color.
It's a
Usually
rich-
zoisite is paler. It doesn't have a whole lot of ruby, but it's let me I didn't look at it closely.
It's got a little ruby.
It's got enough ruby to
in
say that, but
In
the color,
zoisite.
the color of this,
I've
and you
been
look at
looking
here, you
for
see
some
that?
earrings
Look
kind
at
of
how it
match.
passes light.
Here, let me.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lower grade zoisite's going to be opaque.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a
okay.
beautiful piece.
Yeah, this is a
Okay,
magnificent piece.
Well, Debbie, this is the
That's
work
one of
of
Debbie's
of
pieces.
Debbie Eloy.
Who
Yeah.
actually cut it? Debbie
I
did the
don't
wrap.
know who cut it.
Debbie Eloy, tall, slender,
Yes.
suffering.
Yeah.
God, I love her.
Yeah.
While you're in town, if you have time, this could be your last opportunity to see her.
No, she's already gone
Out of town. I heard
to
she's not in town.
hospice. To hospice. She's in California.
Oh, they've taken her to her
Yeah,
family.
I think she's gone to her family
Okay,
in
because
California.
you
You should
we
check
saw
with Jane though.
we saw
Excuse me,
Jane
I'm
the
gonna
other
go sit on
day.
this
Oh,
wood.
here, I
This-
can-
No, you sit right
Oh,
there.
thank you.
We can do this. We're good at this.
Okay.
He's no hippie. He don't care about sitting on
Yeah,
walls,
okay, yeah, I
rocks.
mean, nobody cares. And, yeah, it was really sweet. She,
Somebody else
you
cut
see
that, and that's that's not a commercial cut at all.
nice.
That's somebody
Oh,
cut that.
Plus, I get to be in great.
Ruby in zoisite.
But I wanted
Very
I wanted
nice
to
piece.
get a picture
Yeah,
of.
I'm very, Debbie
What?
wrapped it.
Yeah, what an honor.
Yeah,
She's not
and
a stone cutter, but she
No,
yeah,
she-
that's
but
a
she was-
beautiful piece.
she had some very nice pieces and she was handing them out before she left and I got one. I was so fortunate. I feel so blessed.
So they already took her off to her family.
She's, as far as I know, she's in
Jane
California.
didn't see. We just saw Jane the other day. She stopped by the
And
booth.
she didn't say anything. You have to.
Well-
You'll probably have to ask her specifically.
Well, there was, Jane. I don't know the details, and I really don't even want to talk
yeah.
about that.
Oh, okay.
You got a compliment on that ruby zoisite piece.
Oh, really?
We're broadcasting live
Oh
now.
my God. Okay, good.
I'm
It's
not-
lovely. I love it. What are the other smaller stones? Is that the peridot or?
Going back to my glasses,
See,
so I
here
can
I
see
go. I'm
anything.
gonna look at this. I'm getting my money's worth tonight.
I'm gonna go up into the good light because
Those
I,
Yeah,
little-
I'm sorry.
They look like
all my
little
all my
round
lights
ones?
except this is my work light.
That's a good
That's the only one I
It
got
would
that's
be
working.
nice if
Everything else
they're
burned out.
peridot.
This one's burned out. Oh no, this one works too. Yay.
Oh, look at you. Well, this is not too bad. This is your office, huh?
Well, this is. I had my office was actually in the other room with the MIDI.
Sure.
But what was happening was the internet idiots
Oh,
were tying up too much of my time, and I wasn't doing enough stonework.
got ya.
So I brought the computer in here.
There you go. There you go. Well, that makes sense.
I'm gonna look at these. They sort of look like peridot, but there's a couple other things they can
What's
be.
you got there? Let me see. Well, no, ma'am. I don't think peridot.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was hoping.
I,
This is
I don't even
peridot.
want to guess on those, but I
A
don't
little.
think peridot. They're a little too blue.
Yeah, this is.
They really don't look
this is-
peridot.
This is peridot.
But they're high quality, whatever they are. They might be a barrel.
Yeah. I mean, this is a.
No, they're unusually high quality beads, and they're probably barrels.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
might be a funny color aqua.
you know what I think they are? They're
What?
something that looks like beryl and looks like funny color aqua. I think they're prehnite, now called
That's
prehnite.
okay. That makes sense. That's the green amethyst.
Oh,
They're
really?
very high
Yeah,
quality.
it's a-
So it's like a green amethyst.
Well,
Nice.
yeah, but the real name, it used to be called prehnite,
Mm-hmm.
but Americans couldn't say pre because there's no
Pre.
syllable.
Prehnite?
And for Pratt.
Americans can't say it. Did I not say that?
Yeah, but anyway,
I always pronounce it pre-night.
the Australians like 8 or 10 years ago started calling it pre-night, like afternoon. And
Police will be after.
I always I never
Rude.
I read it as
That's
pre-night
funny.
the first time I saw it on print. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
pre-night.
yeah, but
Pre-night.
that's probably what it is.
And is it Wello or Wheelo for where the Opal location?
Oh, I know the answer to that.
I know because you told me that a couple years ago. I forgot which one it is.
And here's how you're gonna remember it. It's
Or Welo.
Welo.
It's Welo.
WELO, where the all that Ethiopian opal is coming from. It's
Ah.
called Welo.
Now, do you know
Is that the proper dialect?
do you know what the
Welo.
situation at the
No.
mines is?
I can only tell you what I've heard from people who've been there.
Oh,
And what I've heard is it's one ridge between two
Hey, baby.
two villages. And the way it is, and this is what I was told, like I say, from somebody who was there and who got the stuff early on and wanted
some
me to
food.
get the rough and wanted me to cut it, and I was too
Chicken
jiffy.
there in the bag.
I'm good for right now.
here's the Great Baggett cab.
Oh.
So they're all
Here,
stuck.
here, you can
It
have
doesn't.
this
It
here.
doesn't. It won't cut. It won't cut
What?
pure like the Holly
Here.
Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
That's only so.
I'm gonna get another chair.
Yeah. Okay.
It's much
You can-
nicer as
here, you can
specimens.
have
The
this
little
one.
guys mount up real nice. This, you know.
Specimens are much better than the,
Yeah,
than the rough there. That's beautiful.
I saw. You know, I got. You can get $1 a gram for these.
Mhm.
You know, and no problem.
Yeah, they're beautiful. That's beautiful. So this guy says to me, what's happened is
I took it when you were peeking over here.
everybody in town
Knock yourself out.
has stake to claim.
On the Great Baggett.
No, on the Welo Opal. This is what I heard. And I heard if you're the Mama San or Village Head, you got a big claim. And if you're the two little orphan kids, you got a little claim. It's all kind of striated a little bit like
Typical tribal crap.
through the old tribal relations. On the other hand, even if you got a little claim, you're making suddenly money. You're making more money than you could have made. with guns in
My
20
concern.
years.
My concern is always on forced labor.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? The people that doing the digging, do they want to be doing the digging? Especially
I've
the
heard
kids.
yes. I've heard that everybody and their brother and his sister is in on it.
That's
And
what's
that
important
as far
to me.
as that
I
goes,
don't want nothing to do with the big commercial mining operations with dynamite and backhoes and shit. If it's the villagers, and even if they're running their kids in there, if it's the villagers, cool.
That's what I hear. Now they could be. And let me say, that's what I hear from somebody who saw it about 6 years ago.
Uh-huh.
What it is today, I don't know.
I see nothing but I don't see any corporate types handling it.
Correct. That's for sure. It's
Jan
very
says hi.
diverse.
You know, it's the people bringing it.
Oh,
Watch out
hey,
for
James.
the woman inside the door.
She
You know,
loves
the
you.
one right
Oh,
inside
I
on the
love you,
patio,
James.
right there, in right outside the lobby of River Park as you come out to the mezzanine area and the patio
Yeah, on
area.
the left.
Yeah.
I've never dealt with that.
Hey,
I've never dealt with it. I don't know why. I didn't even ask prices. The vibe was wrong. The feeling was wrong.
Okay.
But more than that, I don't have anything bad on.
What
that.
about the guy behind you?
Good
I
guy.
wasn't feeling right about him, and I wasn't seeing anything I was really excited about.
Oh.
She had a big old piece, big sucker like that. Pit crumbled, and it was nowhere near. When I got it back, it was nowhere near the quality of what I got for $5 a gram last year.
So you want to hear a joke?
Sure.
There's this guy had 5 penises. The condom fit like a glove.
That was $5 a gram. So last year,
Didn't you have it? Didn't you?
Is that the opal?
but like,
You had a joke about a Texas sheriff or something?
I was thinking about getting a little bright light in here.
Pretty.
I have a bright light on my phone.
Yeah.
Here, I got the serious light on the phone.
That's the Ethiopian opal.
See now this is On eBay though, I get this I grabbed on eBay.
Ooh, I saw some flash. Maybe
It's very flashy.
Oh yeah, these guys are.
Treasure.
Now what's now I've seen real classy opals, Ethiopians at the street fair, for instance, $80 a carat. So too much?
Well, by the time it works its way down to the street fair and there's university kids, it may be fair. But that's too much.
Well,
I looked at really good material today for 20 a carat and I didn't buy it.
well, I don't see any reason to sell that for less than 20 a carat.
Heck no. No, this is as good as the 20 a carat I was looking at, maybe better than a lot of it. It's got no dead area.
Oh no, these guys are live. I got several of them like that. Check this baby out.
I think I want to
Is
run
it
my
it's still in
car.
good condition?
Yeah,
Get
it
my,
was
get my little light, 'cause it's got red, it's got black light, it'll show, it's bad. I'll be right back with that.
The opal is back. Oh.
This one looks like a little bear.
You noticed.
Yeah, is this cute? Or an
Yeah, if
ear?
you wanna use that.
50 baskets. That's
I
cool.
had a
Everybody's
card.
Oh,
watching.
look at that.
I had a headless torso that disappeared
Oh,
on
look at
me.
that.
So which
Yeah.
one is this?
Where it really
That's the bear.
flashes.
Yeah.
The opal bear?
It's a little opal bear.
So $20 is pretty
What
much
kind of
like
animal
that's
is
a good wholesale price for that.
It's a bear, a little bear.
20 really
Yeah.
nice
Opal going
pieces.
back.
It flashes.
Really nice
it's
pieces
flashy.
at 20 a carat are out
Come
there.
in and
Yeah.
This is coming
do a
back to
close
you.
up of
Yeah, so
The tray?
I'm right on that. And with the fire agate, my feeling is that anything with decent color
Mm-hmm.
of this size, there's no reason to sell it for less than $10,
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
and goes up from there. I mean,
James
you know,
is high.
something that with outrageous color, like this one, there's no reason to sell it for less than $5 a carat.
She just had a birthday.
A
Jane.
retail.
Yeah. Here. Here you go. That's rough.
That's opal?
That's fire
Fire
agate.
agate.
That's Deer Creek rough.
Oh.
Do you actually cut this?
No.
I don't see much fire in there.
You gotta
I don't see where it's gonna be.
I'm
I know this stuff. Have you been cutting this?
I
You ever cut it?
did, and I
cut up
not,
several-
not any darn good.
I cut up several kilos of this. There's
No
hardly,
reason- no reason
somebody
to
gave
cut
you
it.
this?
pet
Somebody
every
just handed
dog.
to you, here, Derek, have this?
No, I got a bin full of it.
Yes,
You got a bin full of it?
Yeah.
This don't have much fire in it.
Yeah.
There's no fire in there.
How about this one?
I love that bag.
Not really.
It's very intricate the way
Not,
it's put
it's not
together.
there. Maybe there might be
Yeah.
see here,
Yeah.
right up
yeah.
underneath
I
there,
remember.
right
Yeah.
there.
remember
You
those
see it?
from, like,
You see
how- You see how this is real pale?
Yeah.
See how that's denser in there?
Yeah.
That's where the fire is
Yeah,
going to be,
in
right
there,
up in there.
And there's all you
Right.
all anybody's
So
gonna get
you're
out.
only, yeah, there's not much there. It's mostly waste.
And so
This
this
kind of
is-
material, I was getting for $50 a kilo, I think it was. Where no, that's where I was getting these
So the
little
only-
bitty
the only
stones.
place
I
the only
was
place I see
going
in
through.
this stone is right in that corner.
Yeah, to get these little bitty stones, I was carving that shit just all up, and what I did was on a lot of them is
In
I'd
that little
slice
dark
the
corner.
big cap
Everything else
off,
is dead,
just slice the white cap off of it,
right?
and then sell that as
Like a windowed piece.
no, just the cap, the calcetti cap as a
Oh, okay.
specimen.
Deer
And then
Creek
you
is
wrap them, the
Arizona.
little ones. You can wrap them, make a
Yeah,
nice
that's
little.
Deer Creek, Arizona.
And then from
Deer Creek,
there,
Arizona fire agate.
from there,
Cool stuff.
No.
Oh, Aida
Where?
says they're not mining there anymore
who Deer Creek
due to tribal politics.
at Deer Creek.
Yeah,
I guess so.
There's
Th-
so
th-
much.
this is-
Slaughter are
this-
still
this
digging.
Right, that's slaughter.
This is from about this was dug out in it's got to be the mid 1980s.
Okay.
Most of the decent material. How much is that?
Those
Yeah.
I'm selling those $4 and $8. I got about 200 of them. At $4.
I'll have to come and see if there's any worth cutting. They're nice specimens. And
Well-
$4 and $8, that's cool.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, The first one you find in my bin that you like.
That's gonna be 10.
No, no, come on. The first one's free.
All right.
We,
Oh,
we
cool.
know how to do this.
Nice.
I
Did
made him
everyone
smile.
hear
I
that?
made him smile.
This is
I'm a
we're talking
her,
about the
please.
Natural Stones booth at the
At
Pueblo
the Pueblo
show,
show. At the
which is
Pueblo
at
show.
River Park Inn.
And I've got a bin full of fire agate.
Do I need
that
to go put on a wig?
Heck no.
Cool.
Garrick's known me since like 1989, so he's just getting, you know, he's just getting used to relating to me as female.
I'm learning. The River Park, the main show at the River Park is all closed. The extended show is on.
Oh.
And the tent that I'm in is the home base for the extended show.
You
So
close the
we're
11th.
Yeah, we close Sunday the 11th.
I know what you mean.
Here, look.
I know it
It
pretty
looks
well.
like fire agate, but really it's a.
Which one's the fire agate?
This is the fire agate and
Which
this is
one?
the grass. This is another piece. This one looks like it'd be worth going into. There's a Deer Creek.
With a real fire
Deer Creek,
agate.
the stuff I don't have it here. I don't think the Deer Creek will. You get the little micro dots,
Yeah.
a lot of green and purple little teeny dots
Yeah.
from the Deer Creek.
My experience cutting this was a shambles. I was never good at it because what happens with fire agate is you cut it. Once you get a piece that's got the color, you cut it down and you follow the curvature of the stone, the topography of the stone. And now suddenly there's beautiful reds and greens and blues and purples coming out and they're gorgeous. And you can see they're down in there in the stone. But they're not really. They're right up on the surface. And it looks like it's down in there.
Oh
And then
yeah.
they said, I'm
Cut
just
right
going to
through
make
it.
it a little bit brighter. You
Right.
take one
Oops.
paper thin
Wow.
cut or
That takes
grind.
care of
Yes.
that.
and
Oops.
it's
There it goes.
gone back to orange.
It's
back to brown.
what were you using
For the little.
with birds? Yeah. You just
Um,
gotta just like real slow.
Yeah, I was.
Just zzz,
Yeah,
zzz,
yeah.
and then you get to the point where it's like, and like you say, just a little bit too much, and now all of a sudden you got a blank spot.
Yeah.
And fire
Yeah,
agate.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's real frustrating, but boy, when you hit it, oh man.
And some people have the knack, and you got to know what you're good at, and what you have to touch for, and what you don't.
Right.
And I am not.
I've been having fun. I'm learning the contour cut. This is what I'm working on right now. And this was a piece I got from the Mexicans, where I just like cleaned up.
Oh, that's pretty good, Tony.
CBD.
Yeah, you get a feel for like
Oh, that's
where
That's
it
a
needs
fire agate?
where it needs to
How
be
do I
cleaned.
Clean
Yeah.
button
You
there.
know, you'll see.
Oh, there
let's
it
see
is.
if we
Okay,
can-
cool.
Push the button and brought it
Let's
out.
get the highlight on
I
here.
know it's hard to see with the shadow there.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's get the light on
Oh.
it.
Have another. Oh, yeah, there.
Here. Wow.
Look at that one.
That's nice.
Somebody
Yeah.
get
Can everyone see that on their house?
Yeah. Now you can,
can see the-
see.
The different.
You
Little
see
bit.
the kind of
Little green up in there.
broadcast.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah, you don't want
It's
to.
really
you don't
nice.
wanna
Yeah.
get-
Check out the greens,
The green and blue
purples.
there,
Yeah.
that's a-
This is.
Huh.
This is right in there.
Yeah.
Right there. That still needs to come. There's
Yeah,
still
it's
some
coming.
underneath there. See
Yeah,
how
we
it's
can
down
see.
on it?
You gotta
You
get
gotta
in
keep
there.
digging in there.
Dig in there a little more.
And you just gotta like, okay,
Mhm.
Yeah,
be satisfied, beer.
CBD oil.
that's right. You gotta be
You
satisfied.
gotta.
Because when you think you're gonna get it great,
Which
that's
website
when you
you
lose
go
it.
on?
It's
Right.
very tricky like that.
It's not, it's cool. Number one.
The fire agate. I think I might have one that I've wrecked. I don't know. I don't know if I have it here because I only have the really good ones here.
Plug it into the car.
The like 90 miles up down the dirt road.
Right,
Plug
if
it
you
into
the computer.
Computer.
Like when you're at the hot springs and you look up, you see the, I think they're the Whitlock.
No, I haven't been there, but I see them.
You guys fire agate there.
I
Oh
do.
yeah, that's totally fire agate.
CBD oil?
Where?
We're gonna
I
go
don't
over
care
it
for
right
CBD
by
as much as
you know,
the
by
THC.
Well,
Yeah, I don't have any of the ones I wrecked
between
here.
Bowie and Safford.
What's the trick to it?
Yeah, there's a
I-
button.
Yeah, we were
Push the
gonna
button.
go out there, but
Push
at
the
this
button
point,
and do a drop.
last fall, we didn't. Or we were gonna go to Slaughter, but maybe we passed by there too because it's on the way.
Your
Hold
car.
the button down while I drop.
Oh, yeah, there
Because
you
the
go.
road, the
Or
dirt
the rock,
road, the
yeah.
dirt road keeps going up, drawn, don't hold the button.
I don't know, past the
Yeah,
hospital.
right.
It goes
Yeah, like
past the
going.
hospital.
I don't know, I'm not really sure I trust my car,
That's
that's hot
really
to get those, it's really rough road.
springy, minty.
When I went there, it was.
Flip the seat.
Yes,
Minty,
very
minty,
tasty.
very minty.
Oh,
They've
people
kind of
really like
improved,
those.
they put a paved road halfway there.
People love that fire agate.
There you go.
People are putting up smiley faces and floating hearts
Where?
Oh,
on
this
my
is yours.
Facebook Live thing.
Oh yay!
It's so
Tell them
beautiful.
come and visit, come buy them.
Yeah, right.
You want that one? You have that.
Well, not really. That's more work than I want to do. I want to come and look at your bin.
Okay,
So
let's-
what would you say
But
for
these
that
are
one?
these are great. This is 4 or 8. That's a $4 one. So
The
the 8s
last
are
one?
bigger,
The last one,
or
that,
the 8s are nicer looking.
the last fire agate.
I
was
had them
one
at
too?
8. I've been selling them at 8
I
for a
think-
long time. And at Tucson, I just made them 4.
I had to
Because-
come look at. I didn't.
because-
I didn't see them. Would you have them on the floor or something?
No, they're in a bin there, but they had other stuff piled on top of them.
Uh-huh.
The trick of what I have is that on the one hand, it's picked over. On the other hand, it's the small ones that are left that have got the color. And people want big ones like this to get the big hunkin' Maha $500 piece out of it.
Right.
But the good color, and you'll know this in the first 4 minutes,
I could see them.
is in the pieces that are this big. And they're
Little,
nice.
little boogers.
Yeah,
I got
just-
one. I don't know if I don't think I have them here because they're not finished.
So the color's more concentrated because it's smaller? Is
No,
that-
because the bigger pieces that had more concentrated color got sold for $24
Oh,
each.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, this stuff is very difficult to get, and the stuff that's cuttable, boy, the cutters are going to be all over it. You probably, if you've had it for a while, it's probably hardly anything in there that's worth cutting anymore.
The small ones are good.
So what's the
I'll come
website
take
if
a
someone
look.
wants to go purchase those stones and they're not in Tucson?
They can go to naturalstones.net, and then there'll be something to click on to email us.
Yeah.
It's not actually a catalog-y type site.
Okay, so then you email.
You'll click on contact us, and an email comes up, and you say what you want, and we will take pictures of it and send it to you. We do that.
You
Yes.
don't,
Lovely. How old is she?
Almost 6.
are you doing much business off your site?
In terms of people clicking and asking for stuff, yes, lots. I'd say 3 or 4 sales a week, which to me is a lot.
Well,
But there's no catalog where people say I want this or that.
right. Well, what's hanging me up right now is I can't find a webmaster who's going to work for a piece of the action.
That's why I still have a static site. And
So you can't find it either.
right, right. And
And I don't have $500 to get somebody to make a site
and
for me.
what I've really been working on the last years instead of the website. 'Cause, see, I was doing the website and the book, and I couldn't get either done.
Well, now the book's done.
Bless you.
Now the book's done, so the next thing is the social media presence, Instagram, Pinterest,
Well,
website,
we-
Etsy,
That's a cool
you know,
all of it.
I'd like to work with you on that because like Real Things has been about, I mean, I got a whole mess of people
Crochet?
ready to
Oh,
jump
sure.
on board once we can light up realthings.biz with
Right.
everybody.
Mhm.
And, I'm
Yeah.
Delta T Creations, your Natural Stones, and we got an umbrella for everything. Can't find a
Can't
webmaster.
go wrong.
So what I wanted to do
It's tricky.
was have the catalog site strictly, real people doing real things, and then push the catalog on the social media.
What I want to do in part is, and this is all fantasy, is I want to have that left-hand column with the links to all the people that I work with who have their own sites. And what people say, don't do that, you'll lose business to them. No, these are people that if they succeed, I get more business from them.
This is my family of friends.
Yes.
I don't give a shit about the money. I want to see everybody succeed.
Right with you.
Okay.
So I'm really starting to work on that. I'll tell you when. Starting when I get back
Absolute
from Tucson. This show is a turning point because I did that opening
Absolute
reading in the book in New York.
Okay,
That was
that's nice.
mid-January.
Go
And
online
as soon as I
and get it.
finished that, I came here, more or less.
Do you
And-
have
And when I get back there, I really wanna work on the,
oil, or
on
do you
the
need it?
media angle of the business.
Haven't bought it yet.
Cause that's where I'm
I
weakest.
might have to go
That's
to an
where-
outlet.
I've been struggling since 1999 against a whole lot of really negative pushback.
Right,
You know, which, I mean, that's been a major piece of it. Where I have to go to court
right,
this week
okay.
and get injunctions against the Facebook family.
It's
Facebook?
massively difficult to get that
Well,
stuff.
Adam Bucksbaum, Gary Stubbs, Martin Cheney, Joseph Villalobos, Cheryl Paolini, and a whole mess others, but those are like the 5 main ones. Are like really Gary Purdue, because he's the swing man he's part of the Troll Network. Is Gary Purdue, Herb Gardner, Winkleman, he's out of Winkleman.
Winkleman, Arizona,
Yeah.
of all places.
You know Joseph Harding, Arizona Light Line?
Don't know.
It's an agro-local family. They're dopers and drunks. And the local, you know, the love gathering, the Valentine's Day gathering here is almost as bullshit as the Ocala gathering.
Well,
Most of the local family will have nothing to do with rainbow gatherings now. In the 80s and 90s, the people who were responsible for the logistics of gathering were mostly what I call F-troopers, where we were living on the road. We weren't spanging our way from place to place. We weren't squatting on the land from place to place. We were living on the road where we could sell our wares, do our acts. And when it was time to gather, we'd go and gather, and we'd stay for an extra couple of weeks to clean up. We weren't trying to squat that land. We were making the land ready for the family to come and gather on. And then we cleaned up after that. Wasn't this cult?
She's waving at you.
You know, if you're watching the social networks, these kids, these buses, filthy, stinking, bug-infested,
There we go.
thieving bastards
I eat it.
come into town. They totally upset the equilibrium between the cops and the local tramps. They push them off. They push them off the good spots. They get all aggressive. They're stealing. You know, they're just totally, completely. The cops end up coming down on everybody.
Hey.
And I've seen it for years since Jerry Garcia died. You know,
What?
was the year Arkansas gathering? It was Arkansas, Missouri, and the scout camp was up between Hot Springs and Mount Ida. And somebody got
Alabama
killed.
93.
Huh?
Alabama 93.
No, that was a different shit show.
I'm glad.
This, I think this was more like
I'm glad.
95 or
So you found-
96, maybe
We
97.
found
Somewhere in there, because I ended up
Yeah.
in Memphis after it was all over, and that was definitely 97. Somebody died up there, where the A Camp Wrecking Crew guys were up there. Timmy Two Tokes and that crowd, Martai, they were all up in there. And somebody came up
Yeah, I
there
think
and
he
got
said he
a
just
sheet
said
or a couple of sheets of LSD that didn't have anything on it. And they came back with shotguns, and one of them left in the body bag.
we use Facebook.
That particular
We
story,
use
I know a lot
as
about.
Real Things Artisans Co-op. We use
I
Facebook.
know a lot
I was
about
right there. Bilbo Baggins came to me at 4 o'clock in the morning one
Yeah.
night because the boys had beaten some guy they thought was a cop near the death of a frying pan. They wanted to make sure he wasn't going to die.
Right, but you gotta understand also, if
He
we
probably
take
has those. I mean, this is the
1,000
gym
scenes
show is
to
where
happen
people,
like
people from
that
all
were
over
like
come.
this, where some hippies and
So
some
this
buses
is,
go
I mean,
camp
a lot of people,
on
a
a
lot of
lake
companies will
or outside a festival.
set up here
or
and then they
something.
have, they
The
ship,
fact is, out of $1,000,
they ship to
probably-
everywhere else. And
hang on,
his
hang on.
business is based in
Hang
Santa
on.
Fe.
I've heard this rap. Go on.
maybe you haven't. I thought I was just making this up right now. Out of $1,000.
Yeah.
Maverick used to
The
run
opals,
rap
you
like
said
that.
the opals
Okay, well,
are,
if I
out of
It's to be
$1,000,
expected.
The Mind Place
I can't
that
say
you
it if I
mentioned
don't
earlier
get to
is
say it.
no
So you
longer
gotta
accessible due to
listen
tribal issues.
instead of just talking.
Go. We got 4 different conversations
That's
going
okay.
on.
Oh, no,
out of
this is
1,000
Ethiopian.
situations where the kids pull over the lake,
Oh, it's
make
okay.
a fire and make music. Probably 500 of them.
Would you
are
like to
gone.
see some?
They treat the locals well. They help somebody with a flat tire and no spare.
Mhm.
They clean up. They're quiet. Hang on, they don't steal anything. That's 500 out of 1,000.
Mhm.
And then there's probably 300 out of 1,000 that are pretty good. They slop up a little. They left some trash. Somebody was snotty to somebody in a store.
Awesome.
Okay. Then there's
See, that's
100
nothing though.
Yeah,
That's
hang
not
on,
the
hang on.
problem.
The name
and
of the
then
mine.
there's another percentage of these folks
Cool.
who
I'm
are
gonna.
really trouble.
Do you want to
and
see
then
the
there's and then there's
the
the
opals
1/2
again?
of 1%
Oh, here.
where some loony scene
Oh,
like
here,
he's describing
please.
happened.
You got somebody wants to see opals?
You
Yeah, Aida wants to see the opals.
Okay.
Somebody,
So these opals are part of the real
This
thing
is-
Well, there's
collection.
Yeah, there's been
This is
This is
like
Tommy's
know,
collection. This is Tommy.
at
Hi.
some gatherings
Hello.
done
Hello, Aida. Thanks
You've
for
been
joining
you've been
us.
seeing
Yeah.
pictures of our booth, Tommy and I's booth at the gym show all week. And so tonight we're bringing Garrick's material also. But this is what we've been selling.
At the Ocala, or the one in.
This
These
is Tommy's.
guys, well,
Yeah.
these are actually, there's several things here besides tourmaline.
right.
Oh, tourmaline. Yeah, that's right.
These little yellow ones are actually Heliodor.
Across the
And I traded this the bigger one of these off. That's Blue Appetite.
Can you see that?
Blue Appetite.
Blue Appetite. Yeah.
Here's a little tiny little tricolor tourmaline.
Ooh, you can see that one, right?
And these guys are real clean. They're small, but they're very, very clean.
John, we've got
The appetites.
clean up.
Or that
Oh,
tourmaline.
you know, this that's nice blue, and nice Nicolite tourmaline. It's
Yeah.
a short one, but it does have termination. That's the terminus cap.
And then there's where's the dravite?
There's a big dravite and several
And
small.
here's the small dravite.
You know, that's the big one.
Where's the
There's
small? It's small
smaller one.
compared to the other one.
There's the
The
smaller
two
one.
dravites.
And then there's a couple of really nice gem quality dravites right here. These really tiny ones.
Grew up a little bit.
Um,
Still goofy
let's
crazy.
look up
And
the
then-
dravite right now.
And then this is a watermelon piece that I got years ago.
From the Elijah Gathering.
Right.
Yeah, I got this at my first gym show in 2011.
Really matters.
If you can see it, I don't know.
Let's see what the dravite's about.
Yeah. But it's for sale. What?
35 years ago, everybody
Yeah.
in the said, "Hey,
On
camp
this?
is going to be the death of anything."
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh,
even
yeah,
some
the-
of the people
the-
mentioned, you see, even some people Tommy's mentioned are day campers.
Yeah.
Most of the day campers, you know, grew old, got married, had kids,
This puppy
You know,
just flames.
died of liver disease,
It's so
Go to
beautiful.
home.
or other reckless behavior.
But these are
The jelly.
that jelly is usually
mellow
referred
freaks.
to as the Mexicans. They'll call those jellies. And these are pretty much the same kind of thing. The scientific name for it is hydrophane.
Since
It's
that, which
there's
was like
water
the first wave of
molecules
punks, which
in
were
the
very
crystalline
hip and very
matrix
cool.
of it.
This is which
And then
one?
What gives them
The
the
one-
jelly?
Asshole punks.
The one with
And-
this one?
And now there's
It is
the
awesome,
street
right?
kids and the dirty kids. And we are just doing everything we can to hook them into the process, responsible community and all this. What's really happening is you got two busloads that are traveling together, and there's one or two
Okay.
real
Jerks.
jerks, and the rest of them
I'm glad you like them.
are
Are
really,
okay.
Thank you.
and are eager
Right.
to interact with us.
I mean, if you were interested in getting one of these,
Ultimately,
we
the
could
real
mail them
jerks
to you. We could mail it to you.
move on to
Yeah.
greener pastures.
Right.
But the problem is we're in the midstream of this right now. You know, you look back
Yeah.
at the A camp and you see
Yeah, they
how it
are.
worked out.
Would you like a price on anything?
Oh, would you like a price on any of them?
Kids today, and you say, oh my God,
Which one?
it's gonna wreck everything.
Just a reference, yeah.
What you're looking at is a minimum of $20 a carat.
And I'll tell you this.
And
none
the
of your
stones
classes
are
that
range from
immense
about 3/4
social
of a
issue that
carat
America has
on
not
up
seen.
to maybe 4 or 5 carats. I think is the biggest one.
Riding the rails.
So what is it per carat?
A minimum of 20. There's
20
others
per
I'd like
carat.
more.
Yeah, like more on the low end. So it's like
You know,
$100
I'm at a retail. I'm at a wholesale show now.
Right.
This stone, this stone could, you know, if it was this stone in an upscale gallery, could let me weigh it.
And there's,
$20 a carat is a giveaway on this. I have no reason to really sell this stone for $20 a carat, other than I'm hungry.
And he would go out and panhandle and.
And
Yeah, we
this
can
stuff
weigh
is
that
easy
too.
to cut, and you know, as long as I got enough to replace what I, you know, $20 a carat make me real happy for
So
this right now.
$20 a carat at
I think this guy's going to be 5 or
And
6
then
or
he's
7.
gone
I
on
forget
his
what
way,
it
went
was.
to the gathering in.
Actually, I don't want to offer this at
Oregon.
$20 a carat. Just
Now
to give you an
he's in
idea.
Hawaii.
This one, I
Of what they
any
are.
of these others,
So
Yeah,
any
it's
of
not-
these others at 20 a carat. This one I don't want to sell at 20.
He has no money, he's just a.
This one I really can't sell at 20. This one's just way too good. No,
Yeah.
this one's just way too good to sell for $20 a carat. I'm sorry, it's just too much
I want
fire.
Tommy to hear this.
And green
I
fire.
wanna hear the good.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
coming. It's coming.
Yeah, these other guys, $20 a carat. There's even some I do for less. The ones that aren't quite so fiery like this one.
Well, you got the picture.
I don't have that many, but I always say I'm gonna sell them and then I never sell them.
Fearsome.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Just
don't,
for the
They're so beautiful.
Fierce.
Great time.
So what does that end up to be?
It's not quite. It's only about 4 carats.
Well, if you
4
can
carats,
save-
okay,
you save
so-
one person.
So maybe that would be
But
I
80.
still, you know, at $20 a carat, but I have no reason to sell this stone for less than $100.
Exactly.
I mean, you got a $100 bill.
Working
I'll
with
send you
young
this
people.
stone right now, and even pay the shipping.
Well, I figure it's true.
Yeah.
Take the deal.
Okay, I hope this is just going nuts because the battery's getting funny.
Take the deal. It's a good value. Is that nice one you were
It's a
showing me?
big fat
before?
one. It's like
big
it's
fat
like
one,
it's,
$100 stone.
it's
Take
like-
the deal. Send them
it's
the
like
money.
4 carats.
Send them the money. It's beautiful.
Her. Gotta get used to it.
Send her the money.
Do I need to
Send her
go?
the money.
Yeah. Do I need to go put on my wig
What?
or something?
I'll get it.
Okay.
You wanna go? I know. She wants to come along. Here, I'm gonna put you on conversation. This is Aida, my friend from Florida, Panama City.
Hi, Aida. Hello. Good evening.
I just wanna go over there and have fun with you guys. You guys are having so much fun.
Well, next year we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again next year. It's only 353 days away.
Yeah, this is the first annual rocket swap.
I've been always telling her that I'm gonna go somewhere and meet her somewhere because she's got a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
portfolio of all the places she's
She's
been.
dogging.
I don't know if
Oh, this is a Facebook friend you've never actually met?
No, we know each other. We met each other.
I wish I could be with her.
Yeah, we met each other years ago in Florida.
Nice.
Yeah, we work together.
That's right. We worked together doing demos.
Yeah, here's
You were the demo
Here's a
award
bargain.
winner.
How
You
you
were the
do?
employee of the month.
This is stupid. This is how stupid I am.
That's right. And then they let you go.
$40.
Yeah, show that.
To a
They were,
retail
they were
customer.
just screwed up.
$40.
And did not forgive them for that.
This is
What
2
says
carats.
$40?
2 carats, $40.
$40 stone if you can see it.
Get it in the good light. It's a beauty.
Oh, that's pretty good. Can you see it okay?
Aida, it's a beauty.
Let's get it over.
Students out
What did
there,
she do with it? She
Get over
did
there.
it.
Like.
my students out there were high-risk offenders and murderers.
Oh, Panama City, Florida.
Where?
Panama City,
I
Florida
was teaching school.
is where we know each other from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
this one I'll do for
she-
$20 a
She
carat.
collects.
Pretty
Do
good.
you don't do any jewelry work now, do you, Aida?
And my job, part of my job was to get them acclimated to the idea that they had to get their high school diploma before they got transferred to Japan.
What are you doing? Those thin slices?
Are we doing what?
Are you doing those slices of like the lapis?
Yes.
You're doing that in your shop?
We did it in our shop.
What do you use to get such a thin slice?
And if they didn't,
4 inch,
Well,
4 inch,
a lot of them had a real chip on their
very
shoulder.
thin
oh my
diamond
God,
blade
Yeah.
But on a 4-inch saw.
Folks, you know,
on a
Didn't really know
On
my
a-
father.
on a little table saw.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I liked how you showed
It's
me how to
not
do that.
lapidary saw, you just have diamond blade on a
Like
regular
years
saw.
ago.
No, lapidary saw.
Yeah, cool.
A little,
A little
hang
bitty
on.
guy.
Hang on, it's blue, which
See,
one
that's
is the
the thing,
blue
if you do it,
one?
I
It's,
just intermittent every once in a
Teeny.
while. Here we're all.
Not
Right
So
on.
that just makes her pay attention to me.
the Brandel company.
Awesome.
Yeah, you don't have it. I
Yeah.
gotta get. I gotta get the right tools. I'm just
Well, the
dying.
show ends on Sunday, and
Marcel,
this is our social gathering. Probably from here on out, it's going to be a lot more social gatherings. But then after Sunday, the show pretty much ends, and it's
Good
whatever
dog.
Real Things has in stock, Tommy, and then whatever Natural Stones Garrick has in stock, and then the other vendors here. So this is Garrick. He has Natural Stones.
Yeah, why don't you got anything in here right
And then
now?
this is
Robin?
Tommy, Real Things.
Did
And
you
then
guys bring anything inside, or you gotta go get it?
Robin is
Gotta-
the other
Gotta
vendor.
go grab something. She's got
And,
somebody to show me.
Michelle, Robin and Michelle have a venue together.
I brought some of that lapis, those lapis slices with me. I'll take those out next. Beautiful energy.
From you guys so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
cool. Sure. Yeah, thank you, Aida. It was good talking to you. I hope you I hope you
Good
make
way
it
to
next year.
Do business.
But if not, maybe
It's
we'll
a good
see
way
each
to
other.
do business.
There's a lot of people doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah.
When you go,
Convenient.
What do you do?
I will
What-
send
what do you
everyone
do to, like,
your love.
What do I do?
yeah, to make money
So,
come in your pocket.
So, plasma?
That's all?
Yeah, we
Are you having?
we
I'm
will
retired,
we will
I'm
talk.
not
So
supposed to
you
are
you said
having,
you found
like,
Garrick's website, and then
with,
we'll talk about with
office
Tommy's
software?
stuff because I'll be here with Tommy's after
I can
the
probably
show.
figure stuff out.
I mean, like, are you fluent with a
Yeah,
computer? You
we
know
can.
your way around them?
We
Kind
can.
of.
That's what.
Kind of.
What do you want to know?
Well, because you know, I mean, if you're not making money, I'm not making much money, but at least what we're doing
Yes,
is fun. and
that would be
does bring
awesome.
money
Thank you
out.
so much.
It's where it's
Cool.
at.
I'll send you the other link to ours
We don't make a whole lot
to
of money.
the
but we
Real
always
Things
have
site
fun.
too.
Is where it's at. And we need somebody to, like, you know, be keeping track of things. You know, the more I can focus on the stone
Yeah.
and my
You
music.
need an office.
For sure.
I need somebody to, like, the more I can
For
focus
sure.
on my stone and my music,
I
the
will
more
let you
money
know.
everybody makes.
So
Is the
we're
way
gonna
it
go.
works.
I guess we're gonna
I'm much too
move on to
scattered
something else now.
to
I got something.
deal with
Oh.
office shit.
I want Tommy
Okay.
to listen
Mm.
to also.
Bye.
And then,
You too, Aida.
so I'm gonna tell a little
She said
story
good to you. Blessings.
that doesn't necessarily concern the specific people you're talking about, but it certainly concerns like some of the street kids, the dirty kids who come to the Rainbow Gathering in the last years. So there was a scene some years ago, and I'm not going to get too specific because it's a long, complicated story I'm trying to summarize, where the dirty kids, the fat kids, came into the silent meditation circle on the 4th of July and made a pile of noise. Threw freaking firecrackers and tried to get everybody's goat up to be not nonviolent against them.
Right.
And it was a scene. And then another year, the next year they didn't do that. Instead, they came near the edge of the circle with pots and pans and banged them. And then there was some conversation that went on that I wasn't party to. But somebody said to somebody, look, if you don't like what they do with the circle on the 4th of July, sitting there in silence because you think it's too wussy and too lovey-dovey, rose-colored goggles on kind of thing, why don't you make your own ritual, make your own routine, make your own coming together that expresses you.
Oh, is this where the tire burning ritual came
No.
from?
That's not. This is after that. This is part of what happened because of things like that. It's not the perfect solution, but watch what happened. So the next year, I'm listening to. I'm asleep. It's dawn. It's not noon on the 4th of July like the Rainbow Circle happens at the annual gatherings. It's dawn on the 1st of July. And I hear a scream. And I sit up. And you know what? I hear lots of screams. And I'm hearing parts and pieces coming from it. And it's very clear to me that somebody's doing, it sounded at first, I thought, oh, this is some kind of screaming yoga. I thought that's a stuff.
Screaming yoga,
Because I'm there from dawn o'clock, just the kind of crazies the Rainbow Gathering might attract. That's what I thought it might be. But of course, what I found out later is that these, what we'll call street kids and dirty kids, decided to do something, and they picked a specific time. They picked dawn on the 4th of July, and they go to the main meadow, and they make a, I kid you not, triangle, holding hands, 1/4 of a mile by 1/2 a mile, or 1/3 of a mile by 1/8 of a mile. They make a triangle. They pick 3 people who are going to be the corners of the triangle, and then they make 1, 2, 3. And then when they're all connected and it gets light enough to see, because they go there in the early dark, they scream. The anguish, the pain, the abuse, they are screaming, blankety blank the banks, and I was beaten, and damn the corporate state, and my mother didn't love me, and the teacher raped me, and the coach beat me, and the jailer did this, and on and on and on. They are screaming against injustice and oppressed people and their own oppression and the oppression of the world. They are screaming bloody murder. And I think it's an absolutely fabulous, spectacularly, incredibly great ritual.
Oh, sure, that makes sense and that belongs. But that's not where the major issues are.
Right, hang on though. I'm just wrapping this up. That's where the vast majority of the street kids, dirty kids, hobo kids, train hopper kids are at. Most of them are not the thugs. Most of them are not the
Oh,
thieves.
sure, I
most of
understand
them, most of them are getting the same bad rap that the dirty hippies got when I was one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You know, we were both there in the 60s and 70s, the same place, and that's not the issues that we really need to address. And you know, during the follies, the Facebook follies, and the ramp up for the Black Hills gathering, a couple of people were like, well, what about Garrett? Well, Garrett is either his opinions are flying about you, because there's all this talk about the corruption and you know, white privilege, and you know, these white guys coming and imposing themselves on the native lands and yada yada yada. And you know, here you are, and David Williams. You know, I've been following you and David Williams since '88 with David. You know, David found me at Long Beach and recruited me pretty much because I was flying my flag upside down. And you know, those of us from that era, you know, I didn't even know I was a hippie until they told me all the beatniks were dead. And so those of us who lived through that, and you know, you were one of the people that actually sat down with the Hopis and discussed the whole thing with them. The people who were actually doing the gathering, you know, Plunker's crowd, the people that were like really putting it on, doing the scouting and it was never, the spiritual thing was covered for the game. And it's always been a movable drug feast, mainly among the people that are putting it on. You also have like long time, like prominent people who are recognized as spokespeople, who claim to be spokespeople for the family, even though, you know, the consensus is that nobody speaks for anybody but themselves. And the family really doesn't exist anywhere but on the land for that 1 week. And whatever happened to like the 1st through the 7th, how come all of a sudden now Vision Council takes a week? You know what? It's about consensus by endurance.
Yeah,
whoever
yeah,
can
that's a
scream the
definite
loudest
problem,
and last the
definite problem.
longest gets to decide where we gather next year.
sort of, but not quite.
But you have, people like, I don't even want to name their names since
Let's
we're
not
live
name the
streaming.
names. Let's just talk about theory. It's much better. 'cause
Well, no, there's a lot of prominent elder males who are like noted sexual predators.
Well, you've been accused of that, and it's
I've
not
been
true.
falsely accused.
It's not true, and we know that.
There are some that I know are true though.
Well, the problem is, for
One of
me,
them's in this town. He's been dealing smack since the Vietnam War.
for me, the question resolves always to what can I do to help the situation? Because everything else is, sort of chewing the fat. So let's use that South Dakota example because it really relates to you also. In the year before South Dakota, in Tucson. Oh, talk to the scouts. Oh yes. We all have one. We all have one, don't we? Oh, you got nice clean teeth for a skull. That's good. So, yeah, we gotta laugh for ourselves. We gotta have fun as we go along. We gotta make merry because otherwise, we lose the joy of the moment. But for me, sitting here in the Tucson Gem Show before the South Dakota gathering, you were talking to me just like we are now. We were recording some of it or not, and you were talking to me about the Native American rights relationship, just like you mentioned a minute ago.
Right.
And I said I had some letters from Leonard Peltier to Rainbow People, and that they were old, and you wanted me to post them on the web. I said no, because I got to hold these until the right moment. So as that controversy built, and suddenly everybody's attention was on it, right? Everybody in that scene's attention was on it. I posted those letters.
Okay.
And the two guys, I get it, from in South Dakota on the reservation there, there's two main groups, Rosebud and Pine Ridge. So both of those folks saw those letters. And what do you think they did? On their weekly call with Peltier, they said, hey, they're flashing these letters around that say, thank you for your great support of the, whatever it was, Wounded Knee and the long that stuff we've done there.
There were people at Standing Rock.
Yes, exactly. And there's this thank you letter. Well, not a thank you letter, but an engaging letter from Leonard. It's not just a one-liner. It's not just thanking us.
No,
It was deeply nice. And so these guys from the two AIM groups on the two reservations in South Dakota, the Black Hills, Dakota, where we were, they talked to Leonard once a week on the phone. And they asked him, and he said, these people, these Rainbow People are our brothers. They have some wackos, they have some weirdos, no question, so do we. They are the only white people that ever stood between us and the police. And we should give them 100%.
Rainbow Hippie's been standing with them since Alcatraz.
Correct. We should give them the 100%.
John Hudell, his last speech was at Hempstock.
Correct.
That's how close we were to those people.
Yeah. So here's this young kids camp, Shining Light. They got like 7 buses, and they got everything from a little bit velveteen to very grunge. And they have 7 teepees, and they put them all up. And they said, no, these teepees are for the Native American folks, so they can come and they can live here, and they don't have to bring in a tent, and they don't have to go to REI, and they don't have to go to Camp Moore, and they can just show up. And after this thing with the 2 AIM characters and them talking in our council,
Who showed up? Because I got to Leonard Peltier just like a day or two before Spring Council.
I don't have the names.
I'm not Leonard Peltier, Leonard Crodall.
These are the 2 chapter heads of the AIM group at Pine Ridge and at Rosebud. But also who showed up was Chase Iron Eyes, who was...
Oh, sure. He's the lawyer.
Well, he's deeply involved.
Yeah, and then are you familiar with the Yankton Four?
I say there's more and more connects like this, but wrapping up the Peltier thing is, and the South Dakota thing, and the Native American, the rainbow rights thing. When the word got out that there were lodges that the kids had put up for anybody from the reservation to come and be in. Families came, dragging coolers, dragging blankets with kids, and they populated those 7 teepees, and it was the real deal.
That's a
Now,
part
who-
of the
who
story
gave
I
the
never
teepees?
heard.
Right, but who gave the teepees? The
Who was
teepees,
it?
Kid folks.
kid folks, youngsters. This
It was-
wasn't me and
It was some
Robbie
youngsters
Gold.
just decided we're gonna bring teepees for the
No,
natives.
they brought them for several years, but they always lived and worked and cooked and camped in them.
Okay,
And they said we just leave them empty for the
Right.
for the native
That,
people.
well, that's a part of it I hadn't heard. You know, I was like all up in the middle of that
See you
UWS.
tomorrow.
Good night.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
coming.
coming.
Roll. You gotta get
I'm
some
not a
rest.
handshake.
Thank you for coming.
My shoulder's pretty messed
See you
up.
tomorrow.
Big old.
Bye,
See you
Michelle.
tomorrow.
Bye, Robin.
I've been talking and now everybody's going. So we just gotta
See you
get to it.
tomorrow at the show.
Good fortune, good money.
I want to move into a comfortable chair.
Good to
Me
meet you,
too.
treasure.
Garrett,
Bye,
move into the
sweetheart.
comfortable
Oh,
chair.
I'm okay.
You're okay on the box?
That was
really
supposed to be
comfy
for
on the
display of gems.
I'm really comfy on the box.
Well, I'll sit here
Okay.
for a minute
Yeah.
and then.
Yeah, I read about that
Or-
in the paper. the
They
problems that
the
were in-
the
Oh, why don't you move
UUWS.
here? Or you
Did
wanna
you
sit
have any?
here?
Did you have any like doings with that UUWS crowd or
I just.
Joy Brown
Oh, yeah, I
and
did, I
and
did.
and
The
and,
UUWS turned out to have been pretty much, this is the
They got
urban
their-
warriors.
they got
They
tongue
got
whipped.
thrown off the freaking reservation
They
for
got-
predation, Tommy.
They got when
They
did
got
that happen?
thrown, but that before they formed this urban group because they weren't allowed to come back to the reservation. So they formed this urban group, and then they set up right outside the gathering with their stuff.
And they got totally denounced by the elders.
The elders denounced them completely, and they didn't have their tarp up good. And when the thunderstorm came, they got soaked and sopping.
What the way it looked to me
It was just a
was
sad
there
play.
were a number. You know, the way it looked to me, there were a number
I miss them.
of errors.
We'll pick it. We'll
In
summarize.
protocol, breaches of protocol that the scouts made. They needed to go through the tribal councils. There was an intertribal council because what happened was somebody just told them to camp where they camped, and it was like right next to Peshla, which is the creation spot. That's where everybody came from, right? And this is like less than a mile from the spot, and that's what everybody was getting all so bent out of shape about. But these guys, the UUWS was trying to stir shit up, and they've been opposed. You know, there's some problems with AIM since the Annie Mae Aquash murder. AIM has lost a lot of face and support in the Native community because of that. And this UUWS supposedly rose up. I never heard that they were kicked off the reservation. I thought it was just city hippies, and it looked like the rhetoric they were using looked pretty much like Zionist rhetoric with the names changed.
Well, yeah, they're a real problem to their own community.
That's what it looked like to me.
Just hang on. Just like our troublemakers are a problem.
Well,
to us.
that's where that video came from. Is I wasn't threatening to kill any Indians. It was like, hey, you guys want to fight it out? You got to kill me first. You know, 15 Indians and 15 rainbows.
I know,
was
but
what
it was
Nobody got it.
easy to misinterpret it.
Yeah, because
And
I
it
was so.
huge, huge,
Oh,
huge fill in the blank.
Oh yeah. Well, it was nuts.
Yeah, yeah. It
Well,
wasn't-
I
it
was
wasn't
getting
you in the
threatened. I
best.
was getting threatened online by the Drainbows, in my email and on the groups, and then the UUWS was calling me on the phone to threaten me. And here I'm trying to like, hey, look, let's work this out. You know, I had been trying to get to Leonard Crow Dog all year, and the UUWS people were like pushing me away, claiming that Crow Dog had sold out and all this happy horse shit, all kind of bullshit, claiming that he and his son were selling tickets to Sundance in Europe. When the fact of it is, Leonard Jr.'s over there trying to make it as a native rocker on the indie scene, and Leonard's living hand to mouth. And I found out later that what had actually happened is Leonard did take money
for a ceremony once, and the money immediately was given to somebody who needed it.
Yeah, of course. You know,
So they're
listen,
trying to-
listen, if you say I'm here to skin everybody alive and get every penny I can out of everybody's pocket, nobody cares practically how you do it. But if you say I'm trying to be a good and spiritual person,
Oh, yeah.
someone will say, oh yeah, you took $10 for helping heal that brother or sister of their grief or their anguish, and then you took the $10 and you gave it to somebody who was hungry, or you took money for healing. Now you're against everything Jesus said.
Right.
Oh man, it goes on and on. If so, you try to be good, you get faulted for every darn thing you do. If you don't mind being bad, everybody goes, oh yeah, that's just the world.
We never ate this.
Rainbow seems to have sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
please, it's good.
The Rainbow gatherings seem to have a thing with being close to native historical sites and taking it, like, you know, the 2018 gathering we found out was, you know, it's in the Southern Appalachians. And the first word that you mentioned associated with it was the Katua gathering, Tommy.
Do you want some of this?
And
That's pretty good.
Katua is the old Tulagi name for, it's an old Tulagi name
Good
for
mapping.
the Southern Appalachian region and a historic town in the region.
Well, everywhere
So,
in the
it's like
continent
what
is
they do.
ancient Native American sites.
True.
Period.
Yeah,
And
really.
the places that we would treat as gathering sites, sacred sites,
Yeah.
meditation sites, are not going to be on the flatlands. They're going to be up in the mountains, places you would pilgrimage to, places that were too cold to get to in the winter. And, you know, in the ancient times, I don't care what, whether it's Native American tribes or Asian tribes or African tribes, you go to these places at things like the full moon or the solstice or something, and then the tribes would more or less exchange marriageable children, or they'd go court each other. And that way, my kid is the cousin of your kid's cousin over there, so we're not going to go to war with each other over the grapefruit trees because, hey, we're all in it together. And, you know, stuff like this has gone on since time began.
Right.
And in this particular situation, I want to tell a little story also about the Native Americans that hasn't been told. In one of those teepees, a couple of the grandmothers set up. And they, for like 2 nights after dinner circle, began telling stories and mythologies. This is a really good story. And they were telling the creation story, and the moon story, and the eagle story, and the bear story,
Right.
and the water bug story. They did that for 2 nights, and they got a bigger and a bigger crowd, and a lot of young kids were coming to hear the old grandmothers. A lot of the dirty kids sitting there in
Sure.
their blankets,
Yep.
more interested in this than
Mhm.
in what's going back on at their camp.
Yeah.
And on the 3rd night, the grandmothers got up and said, so now we've told you all the legends, now we want to tell you some of the truth. And they told about when they were little girls and the police rode through their camp, and the sexual abuses that occurred, and the
Jesus.
violent abuses that occurred, and the
And
killings
the
that
removing
occurred.
the children and putting them in the special schools.
They told things they were witness to,
I know.
and that their parents were involved in. And I watched and listened, and it chills up and down my back. And I think some of the young kids today, the hobo hoppers of today, the kids who have come from the most abused families and had to leave home at 13 or 14, I think that these kids listened to those grandmothers, and they knew there is a continuum of movement through the generations towards freedom and with people of oppression, trying as best as we can to support each other.
Right.
And I think this is what I've got to look at. This is what I've got to see. And when, you know, some drunk shoots somebody else in the parking lot, I mean, there's no excuse in God's earth for anything like that at a peaceful event.
No.
But there's no excuse for God's earth for that happening at a rodeo,
Right.
or at an Indy 500, or outside a baseball game.
Or in Las Vegas.
God help us. Sure. Oh, so we live in a violent society, and these terrible violent things happen, and we are not immune. Rainbow Gathering, for all its peace and love motif, is not immune, and we're going to get all these kind of characters. And the thing is that when it gets blown out of proportion, people think that's what's going on there.
Yeah.
The problem
yeah.
is that you've got people who are claiming responsibility for the logistics who are committing felonies. They're using the
prayer circle is covered for major criminal activity. There's accusations of sex slaving.
That's
There,
who,
go study,
that I don't know anything
and
about.
there's Timmy Time claims to have a list of rainbow rapes that he's compiled. That's huge.
It could happen,
Um,
don't you think? It could be happening out there in the woods.
I'm sure.
I mean, have
I'm
you
sure
ever
it has
met Timmy?
happened.
Have you ever actually met Timmy?
Yes, I know Timmy. No, Timmy Time?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know who the heck that is. He's some internet troll.
Uh-uh.
He may not even exist.
No,
Is
he
it-
is real.
I saw his posts. It's so
He's
weird.
real. I've spoken to him.
Oh, he's threatened to kill a lot of people.
That's bullshit.
He's
Sit down. Sit down. I know
saw
better.
his posts threatening
Yeah, I
to kill
know
people.
better. Sit down. That's my turn. I'm listening. You're
So
kind of listening.
he's like not a he's a troll
No,
to you.
that's the
He's a
myth.
psycho.
That's the myth.
Duh.
That's the myth. I know better.
Well,
You've been
That's a
had.
Urban.
You're being had by Bucksbaum. You're being had by all these people that are putting your name up on their groups. These tie-dyed tyrants and devious little drainbows. out putting. I mean, Martin Cheney has bragged to me
New word.
about financing gatherings with drug profits. He's bragged about that. I cannot believe that Adam Bucksbaum is living on legally acquired money when he flies all over the place all year long. I do not believe that that young man is earning money on anything but the black market. I'd have to see some fucking IRS forms to believe that that young man is not engaged in felonious activity, organized crime. There have been 3 deaths attributed to his crowd. There are reports of blind dosing with research chemicals. There are some gatherings that have turned into such local regionals that have turned into such shit shows that the local family disavows all knowledge of it. It's like we're nothing to do with it. Like the Black Sheep gathering, the Apalachicola thing. I don't know what's happened in Shawnee, but it's not the old family that used to do it.
Yeah.
Benny Maisel, that was his favorite thing to do, was go down there for the Shawnee gathering because that's when the persimmons were in season. The pawpaws were ripe. It's changed since Jerry Garcia died because they never took the hippies acting like Hopi seriously. It was more the people that actually put it on were more the veterans.
Well,
You know, people like you have been used. I mean, this was what I was getting at before. Was like they were saying Garrick's is either the world's biggest chump or he's the slickest con man that ever lived.
Well, what
Now,
if
if you were the
it's neither of
slickest
those?
con man that ever lived,
What
you
if
would
it's
have
neither
been
of
you would have been here at Mickey's booth with $50,000 the other day. So you're obviously no con man because you don't have access to that kind of money.
I don't follow that reasoning, but I accept that I'm no con man.
Well, have you ever talked to Greg Blanchard about the marijuana millionaires running that show? I mean, excuse me, but what about principle?
I think that, and I'd like to talk for a couple of minutes.
Go. I did my
I
rant.
think that you have conflated several different criminal activities, and I want to talk about them.
Please.
Number one, I believe that pot should be legal, period.
Yeah.
And hang on, in one form or another, it should be legal. How that should be done, how the commerce and the money around it should be, is neither here nor there. It shouldn't be a criminal activity to have it, or as a consenting adult to buy it or to sell it. Given license people for cleanliness and
Absolutely.
stuff. No mold and mites. Nothing goes without some kind of community regulation.
Right.
Okay. I further believe that all psychedelics should be legal. And maybe there's a little more stringent testing processes, like for any consumable drug, there's the FDA. I'm not a big fan of the FDA. But I think that possession or sale or buying or having
All drugs should be legal.
Hang on.
The more dangerous ones should be tighter regulated is all.
Psychedelic compounds is a human right. I believe that. And I do not believe that sex trafficking is a human right, nor that it should be legal. And I do not believe that rape is anybody's right, nor that it should be legal. So I have to divide the loaves and the fishes here. that's a little too Christian term, but or the sheep and the goats, and that always bothered me because I like goats so much, and sheep are not always the brainiest animals. But so I want to make a division here and say some things that are felonies are genuinely wicked and harmful to others, and some things that are felonies are, for the most part, not.
And nobody else's freaking business.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. Privacy, piece of privacy,
Right.
rights of privacy, rights of freedom of mind, etc.
Anything
So,
that
so
doesn't
hang on,
impose
hang
on anybody else shouldn't be a crime.
So now here comes the problem with what you're talking about, because by throwing all those together into one mix, into one soup of a paragraph, I feel very much that, you know, if somebody really knows somebody who's sex trafficking and using the rainbow as a cover for that, then everybody's got to get together and essentially, for lack of a better word, bust that. Now, on the other hand,
Right.
and this is the trouble. This is where the trouble comes down. On the other hand, if we take something that, let's say, I think ought to be legal, but is a felony. I admit it's a felony. I know it's a felony. You got to be careful. And you accuse somebody of doing that felony. There's one of two things. Either you're wrong. You know, maybe the person who you think is a cocaine zillionaire is actually a trustafarian.
Right.
Okay, hang on, maybe. I'm not saying.
No, I understand where you're
Could
coming
be.
from.
Yeah, hang on. Right. So, if you're wrong and you've accused that person, you have falsely accused somebody and of disreputable criminal behavior, and that's a terrible thing to do, as you well know, because you have on the internet and other places been falsely accused.
Yeah, right.
Now, on the other hand, if you point at them and you say they have committed this felony, this felony, this felony, and they have or are, well, now you're a rat.
Well, yeah.
Hang on, and you're stuck in the corner that you've made for yourself between one wall is I'm falsely accusing somebody, and the other wall is I'm ratting somebody out about something that maybe I believe in to a certain degree anyway. This is a corner you have put yourself in.
No, I haven't
Hang
put
on,
myself
hang
in that corner
Okay.
because there's
It
one
seems
distinction.
to
No,
me.
it only seems to because
It
you know
seems to me.
I've stood for years. I've taken falls for family growers and chemists.
Anyway, it seems to me that you put yourself in that corner.
That's
and the
just
result
that's,
of that, is people exploding you
I'm
on the
talking about cartel stuff. I'm talking about research chemicals. I'm not talking about weed and LSD. Like I said, I've taken falls for family growers and chemists.
Well, that crazy story that was circulating on the internet that you were talking about, and I was talking to you a little about on the side, about somebody who thought they'd been dosed by somebody sprinkling something on the sugar top
Right.
donuts. Hang on. That story seems to me to be so wrapped up with these people drinking, smoking, partying, doing other things earlier in the morning, and then it's late at night, and they think they were dosed on some donut and something. I have to say,
That was another.
Hang on.
That was the one that got a lot of press.
Yeah, I know.
During, on the
That is
side,
so-
there were 3 other people
Hang on,
that claimed that they had been blind dosed at other
Okay,
gatherings.
3 different issues. I'm just going for this one.
Right.
This blind
That
dose
one was
story.
sketchy.
No, it's beyond sketchy. It's totally freaky-do and ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And you know,
What about
ludicrous
Elena
things
May
happen.
Carter?
Pardon?
What about Elena May Carter? Elena Ray.
Don't know who you're talking about. Anyway,
The story
I
that
really
came
don't
to
wanna
me.
talk
The
about
story that came to
individual
me
people
is that
particularly. Everybody I've talked about so far has been a theoretical character.
No, Elena
Because
May.
I don't want to be live streaming doing one of 2 things. I don't want to be live streaming doing any obscenities. I don't need to talk about anything like our president talks.
Right.
And I don't
We
want
don't
to.
really want to be naming too many names.
I don't want to
No,
name
but
any
that's-
names.
So in
I
that
don't want to
case,
name
we'll
any
stop.
names.
No
about
names.
Well,
Well,
let's
we
just
can
call this
stop-
crew
stop the
the
stream,
crew
like
that's
this.
vocalizing
Yeah.
the national
Yeah.
movable drug feast that they turned the regionals into. They
Yeah, I'm gonna stop
basically-
the stream anyway. There's only one
Happy
person who's been watching for a while.
Okay.
It's been fun. You know, I think
Yeah.
it's been
Thank
it's
you.
looked cool. You know Rick Phelps and Alex Mexi in Santa Fe, the artists. They say hi. They know
Okay,
you
chill,
like
chill.
Restore Natural Stones.
Derek, chill, relax.
Everybody knows me.
It's your fan club. It's your fan
Oh, no.
club.
So, all right, I'm gonna finish this and we'll continue on with some
The
more
issue, you know what, I would,
in-depth
you know,
things.
I
Thank you so much,
stand up.
Derek.
We're rocking. We're good. Is this just streamed or is it recorded someplace?
It was streamed.
It's streamed
Streamed is
and
not
stays.
recorded
It's-
unless somebody
it's
else-
Facebook, it stays.
It's on
Stays
Facebook.
on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it on Facebook
Yeah, it
so
stays
everybody
on
can see
Facebook.
it.
But, you know, to get back, my position is all drugs should be legal. And just the dangerous ones regulated a little tighter. The family growers and family chemists, I mean, like, I've always, like, been, that's always been kind of my job. You know, that's why they call me Crazy Tommy, because I'm the one that will get in between the family and the cops. No, but when people calling themselves family are bringing cartel dope and bringing dangerous drugs into the gathering, like
Okay, but when you say
speed and
things,
heroin,
when you say things like this, what's sketchy here is you want to go out on this limb and say this is so. You need real research.
it's coming to, you know, I
You
have,
can't
there are
get
two
it off
people,
some
there are two
lunatic drunk
people
on the
that are not
internet.
going to be real happy. You know, I've done what I can. There's a lot of things I witnessed. Eyeball. I was there when the hash was being picked up from Fort Knox. I was there
Well, they always caution you
when
against
grams were
self-incrimination.
being sheeted out. Okay, I've seen this stuff with my eyes. I know, you know, like I said, I've been following you and David pretty much. Your lead, your rap on the whole trip is what I've been trying to emulate. Just following in your wake, the two of you. And what I've been met with is that this idea of coming together and praying for world peace and actually manifesting the sacred rainbow nation is a joke to the most of the people that have been putting it on all these years. Just hear the cover for their game. And it's always been that way. And since Jerry Garcia died, it got worse because they turned the Rainbow Road into their new tour. They're distributing dope all over the country. That's not family. They're specifically what's happening and has been straight along is that the family is getting deliberately interdicted by this principle thing that's going on. And I had reports when I was on the road, people would call me up and tell me about crazy shit happened on his land, black helicopters, and guys jumping out in uniform at the 93 Kentucky gathering. So fucking jump in there, black helicopter, come land right in the parking lot, discharge a platoon, go
Wow.
chugging out into the field. You didn't know about that? You never heard that one?
No.
Yeah, well, because
But
you are being used. You are being used as a figurehead for this game that's going on behind your back. And it's been that way straight along.
I think that whatever game you're talking about is much more minor than what's really
Major
happening.
drug distribution for the man, and the whole thing, the way it's structured
For
is
the
to
man. Talk to me
interdict
about
the actual coming together of this Rainbow Nation. The way the gatherings,
Well, what do you want to do about it?
I don't know what to do about
You
it.
know, that's always the bottom question is you have a problem. What can a person do to make it better? And I know that sounds Pollyanna, but that's the puzzle. And frankly, you know, accusing people of these things, here's what happens. Here's what happens. He accuses person X of being this, we'll call him a mafioso chieftain. Okay? And again, either this person is a mafioso chieftain, in which case they're ratting him out, or they're not a mafioso chieftain, in which they're falsely accusing. So hang on. Then there's the next step of what happens. Watch the next step. Because this has all happened already.
But that's the CIA, it's government stuff.
Maybe. The next
Maybe.
step, true. The next step that happens is this person X, who he is accused of this, And we don't know because there's no solid evidence other than the sketchiest internet ratings.
Yeah, right. Mhm.
We don't know whether it's true or not true. And
Mhm.
and
Yeah, not
and,
sitting
and
in my
maybe,
living
maybe
room. I
you
don't.
know, maybe okay.
Yeah.
And what does this person do in response?
Mhm.
This person accuses him, his accuser, of something that I know and Tommy Jane knows is false.
Mhm.
And it's something that I've been, as it were, talking to people about on the side, saying, listen, this is an accusation that isn't true, and here's the real story.
Mhm.
Which is all you can do. Knock on one person's shoulder. It's like, listen, let me tell you this, because you've got it wrong.
Mhm.
And here's what I know, and here's what really happened, and that's the scoop. And
Right.
he has been falsely accused.
Yeah.
So
Let me tell you about Timmy
See.
Time also being falsely accused. Let's change the subject, just tweak it a little bit,
Right.
because I'm not the only one.
I'll come back to that other part. Go ahead.
There's that group that I mentioned. They are running the active rainbow groups. They put people like you and Karen Zirk on the admin roster to give it some credibility.
Yeah, I'm an admin for like 35 years.
Right.
Of which I've never admined anything.
Exactly. And this crowd, the
Nice.
guys that are I don't want to be repeating their names a lot.
Yeah, let's not. It's
You know,
better
we
that
know who
way.
they are.
It's better
You know,
that way.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. They're running these groups. They are preemptively banning people that they don't want in the groups. People like myself, like Timmy Time, when they see our accounts, they attack them. I have not been able to post, but about 6 weeks in 2017. I'd be online for a week or two, and next thing I know, I'm getting blocked because of some bullshit that the Rainbow's
killing
full.
Indians.
Huh?
And
No, that was 3 years ago already, man. This was last year. This is last year. They blocked me from the group. Then they come and jump in my face and get me blocked at Facebook. And even I'm for some reason I'm not able to post anything to AGR. He just automatically ignores my shit. Even local news about the local family, he doesn't post that for me.
Yeah, but he doesn't post anything. He hasn't posted anything new on AG.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. But that group of people are misappropriating the family name. They are speaking on behalf of the Rainbow family as if they are running the Rainbow family.
Here's the difference. I don't doubt for a minute that there are people who are misappropriating the Rainbow family name and doing things under its cover that are not right. But that is not.
Well.
But that is not nefarious.
Yeah.
Hang on. That is not the main frame of what's going on.
Terrorizing me is pretty criminal.
See, to you, you see it as you paint everybody in that brush, and me.
I'm not painting everybody. I'm painting this particular crowd.
Right, but this particular. The fact is, though, that this is not the crowd that is running and making the gatherings happen.
No, they're a bunch of idiots. They're a bunch. Well, I don't know about. Well, wait a minute. What? Excuse me. What about Finch? What about Finch? What about Finch? He's running around. He's on the site. He's on the site weeks ahead of everybody. He's the one that's interacting with the local communities.
There's other people there before him. There's other people interacting before him. There's other people.
Well, he's the one.
So you're picking one person.
He and his crowd.
And you're painting 800 people.
Well, slow down. Let me get to the point.
Yeah, but a lot
in
of
those
times
groups, these guys are running those groups. Whoever else is on the land is not being exposed to the public. These are the people speaking for the Rainbow family into the groups. I hardly ever see any of these other people that you're talking about.
Well,
people I know to be real family, I never see them online.
Yeah, there's hundreds of other people that are laying water pipes, that are building Kid Village, that are
I know that.
That are parking.
I know that, but the people claiming to be pulling the strings and pressing the buttons, cats like that. I don't even want to mention the names. The guys who run the scout group.
There's lots of other people out there who are doing all that stuff, who are not nefarious. Most of them are not.
No, I understand
You're accusing some, and
I
let's assume that some of them you're accusing
I understand.
are actually nefarious.
It's a very small
They're
number.
angels.
Yeah,
It's a
really.
very
But
small
there's
number.
nefarious people here at the Jam Show.
That's
There's
right.
nefarious people at the YMCA. There's nefarious people at Tucson High School. We have them also. That's the way it is.
Sure.
That's right.
And we're
But
trying to deal with it. But they're
it's-
not running Tucson High School. Hang on. They're not running the Rainbow Gathering. They're not running the YMCA.
But they're the
They're
ones
just
that the public is seeing.
No.
They're
No.
the real, you know, I
Depends on who you're looking at and what. There's
Like-
hundreds of rainbow groups out there
Like,
that these people you're mentioning have next to nothing to do with.
how about the couch burning kids at Slab City? They call themselves Rainbow Kids.
they all
I didn't
do,
see
you
them,
know,
it just
tire
comes
burning,
through.
all sorts of
Right.
crazy
Higher
shit.
burning, yeah, I mean that's
Correct,
that's
right.
not that's those don't represent.
But they are there,
Yeah,
and we
they're
have
part
to
of
deal with it, and
Right.
now that we have to eat some of their karma,
Right?
and that's how it is.
And
But
they're
that
at
doesn't
every
mean
gathering.
Well, what
Some-
happens is Never pointed
that
it out.
in bigger gatherings,
Mhm.
they get hooked into public process. They get hooked into helping put up the chocolate kid bill. They get
Oh,
hooked
okay.
into stuff,
Yeah.
and that then they get on board.
Mhm.
And they can still be scoffers and still be snarly.
Right. But then they have this role.
They have a role and that's what's happening mostly. That's easier to do with the larger gatherings, versus a larger group of people who can induce that, than at the smaller gatherings where the larger group of people is out with their homes, their families, their jobs, their farms, their building construction companies, their leather shoemaking things, their furniture operations, their logging, everything else that dumb darn hippies do. And let's make some tinctures. So,
Well, but a lot of those people do other things too, like Renaissance festivals, pagan festivals,
Right.
the pagan spirit gathering in Illinois every month or every year. There's
Burning Man, all kind of
well,
stuff.
Burning Man is a whole that is a whole adventure on its own. That is a class by itself.
Mhm.
I'm talking about, there's all kinds of things.
There's-
Rainbow it's not all rainbow,
correct.
but a lot of people
That's the
from all of these kinds of festivals also do rainbow gathering.
Right.
You know?
It's all mixed up. It's a-
Right.
That's what I'm writing about in the book. It's not
Right.
specific.
Yeah.
Some people are mad at me because it's not a history of the rainbow, but really, I'm writing a history of what I think of as a large world cultural movement that I
I
Mhm.
call
the
them
New
rainbow
World culture.
hippies. I try to avoid rainbow family because my experience has been that
This is great. Thank you for
the
talking
real
about this.
rainbow
Go ahead.
hippies,
Well,
the peace, love, and music
yeah.
crowd,
that's my
I've always found them, in my travels, I
pagan.
when I was on the road, I only went to a few gatherings
Right.
before I got driven off the road, but I was going to all these other festivals and shit, involved with the hemp crowd in the Midwest and everything. And it's a mentality. It's like the peace, love, and music mentality, the be kind to each other mentality. That was the consciousness raising that I felt in the 60s, was that, hey, come on, people now, smile on your brother, all that,
Right,
all that folk
right,
music. That was
right,
that was our Bible back then. It was like,
Right,
this is how we
right,
should be acting.
right.
And for me, what I saw and feel in my own being is that the conflict in humanity is between the people who are actually trying to follow the golden rule and the ones who don't give a fuck about it, and the people who are trying to live closer to the land, a more indigenous lifestyle, tribal culture, consensus-based governance, versus the industrial fascism.
Well,
That
it is
really-
industrial
No,
fascism.
that's where the break in humanity is, and we see that at the gatherings. My experience with the gatherings is that, yeah, the high spirit is there, and yeah, I don't think I've ever felt anything higher than like holding hands in a circle that was like, what was that circle in Nevada? 2 miles across, and you couldn't see everybody because of the topography of the land. The circle would hide behind the hills, and and circles
miles
inside
across.
that. Things like that. That's as high as it gets. But
Around hills,
then you're
yeah.
realizing that those 2,000 people
They're
standing
all
there doing
men.
that are surrounded by
In
8,000
a circle.
people engaged in
And
all
it
sorts of
connects into
fornication and
Power of
debauchery.
that circle.
Where's
I think
that
that's
prayer
inaccurate.
going?
Wow.
Huh?
I think that's
I'm sure it is.
I would cast that.
Um,
The power.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would
this is
cast
me,
that circle.
and being a Cohen,
Yeah.
I'm feeling the vibe from, you know, Tommy doesn't. I don't see, you know, I'm deaf, dumb, and blind, crippled, and crazy. Remember, I'm Tommy. I'm that one.
Can you
And-
hear me?
You know, so I'm going on how the whole scene feels to me and how it relates to my, you know, I don't live here. I'm just here. This is just part of me. The rest of me is everywhere else and everywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, really, I know.
Yeah.
Right. The answer to be here now. Beware when.
Yeah,
I'll be like, what am I doing? Okay, where am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Like, I mean, I'll find myself, okay.
So listen, in the book, this relates to what we're just talking about. In the book, even though through many of the scenes, the Living Theater scene, the Rainbow scene, the Rainbow Farm scene, the
You
Community
write that?
Garden scene, I wrote that.
This
yes.
is his
I'm gonna take a picture of that.
And you're gonna sign it too.
Oh, I am. I got my pen in my pocket. I got my rolling ball that I'm happy with.
See?
Yeah.
Got a special one.
So
Can I see?
So, in here, even though there were, let me use your word, sir, nefarious people who came through the Living Theater, who came through the Catholic Worker, who came through the Rainbow Gatherings, who came through the Back to the Land Farms, even though there were nefarious characters who came through all those different things,
Yeah?
I don't say one critical word about them. I talk about some of the scenes where some of our stuff came apart,
Mhm.
where some of it disintegrated right in front of our eyes.
Right?
Okay? But
Mhm.
even then, I'm kindly to the people who knocked it apart because they had their own issues and their own stuff. You'll read it in the book.
You naming names or is the names have been
I
changed?
probably
name-
not
I
at the
name- I name names,
Name
but
names?
I'm compassionate
I'm here.
toward them
Like,
for what they did because I understand or understood where they were, what was driving.
Right, alright.
The nasty stuff I say in the book, the really nasty stuff, is
Cool.
reserved entirely for the military industrial corpster
Oh.
bankster stage. That's who I'm really going after. I don't need to waste a page talking about idiot so-and-so who stole the bank at the Rainbow.
Good,
Or
okay,
idiot
great.
so-and-so who
Mhm.
screwed something up at the Renaissance Fair.
Right,
Or
okay.
idiot so-and-so who ran off with the money from the No Nukes movement meeting. I need to go on
And
about
there's
that.
all kinds of that going on.
Endless.
But
Yeah,
if we didn't live, if we weren't
Chicago
enslaved by a
Hamsters got to use.
debt-based money system
Yes,
that we have to pay interest on,
yes,
this would not be happening.
correct.
The one year the Chicago Hamsters got to use Soldiers Field,
Mhm.
we made like $45,000 or something profit. Someone ran off with it.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
you know, people
Yeah.
say to me, well, what's really, what do you still see as radical or progressive most about the gathering?
You know Tommy.
And what I see most, I mean, there's lots of other groups doing spiritual stuff
Mm-hmm.
in the woods that are I don't even like some of them. Tell like it is.
Right?
But it's the fact that it's one. I don't know whether to call it a giant step or a half step outside the money system. That's what's revolutionary about it, is that you don't have to pay admission, and you don't have to pay for food, and you don't have to pay for medical, and you don't have to pay for parking. And that's still as revolutionary as it was in day one.
I live by those tenets as
Sure.
much as possible.
And
Don't we all?
Sure. And the fact
Food
is,
is free.
you could criticize that so and so now has got control of some websites, or that some years ago so and so had some scam in the parking lot,
Right.
or that so and so had this scam or that scam or the other scam. But the fact is, the mainframe of the event is still really free like that, and
Right.
and I think that's still vastly overlooked
Yeah.
by all the
Okay.
media.
Oh, yeah. It
Well-
is. It is. Well, the media doesn't want to give. I have friends that have a group, a Ubuntu group. Do you know what Ubuntu is? Have you heard of it?
African dance.
It's
No,
African. It's an
Swahili
African
word.
community.
It means freedom.
African community, free community.
Wow.
Basically, groups of people that have developed like cryptocurrency to just you figure out transactions among the group, and then they get together and they trade off time, and basically it's timeshare. You know,
Got
it's you have a skill like like Tommy needs somebody to do office stuff. You know, so if you have a skill and you go and put in an hour and you get 20 numero is what the thing is. You know,
Cool.
from the bank, or Tommy would pay me 20 numero for, and it would just be in a computer. It doesn't cost anything. It's not worth anything, except then I have 20 numero that I can give to Michael for changing my oil and taking care of my car. You know, so then I give 20 numero to Michael, and Michael wants to buy me a ring, so he just so he gets a stone, and he's so it's just going around. But it's everybody helping each other, and all you're doing is just cataloging the transactions.
Are we talking about Trade Circle?
Trade circle, sort of, I guess.
So she's talking about.
But I in some groups they call it Ubuntu.
Oh yeah, okay.
You've heard of Ubuntu?
I've heard of Ubuntu.
And so you know what that is, yeah. Yeah, I have a whole community of folks in Minneapolis that are now doing this. They meet monthly
Cool.
and have discussed, what the kinds of things that they, trade or exchange for, and helping each other out and getting stuff done.
And jumping sideways here, the real front edge of the rainbow.
But there's no
gathering.
money.
Right, and that's still very revolutionary.
Yeah.
The real front edge of the rainbows is not the annual gathering in this country or some particular.
No.
It's. I'll give you the example. There's a gathering in Tajikistan. Okay, 1,300 people. Who was there? Ukrainians, Chechens, Russians, Tajiks,
Right,
Uzbeks,
right.
Donetskians,
Okay.
Israelis, Palestinians, Amsterdam kids,
Oh,
bunch from Hungary,
Mhm.
bunch from Czech Republic, and
Yeah, you have
Okay,
a
so
rainbow
you-
gathering.
you have-
And
hang
you
on.
got people from
You got-
California, you got people from
hang on.
New York, you got people from
Sure,
Virginia, you
but
got
I'm just
people from
finishing.
Florida, you
You
got
get
people
it.
To me-
My turn now.
So it's basically
Yes.
the
I've
same
been quiet
thing.
for a while. I got
To
some
me,
couple things to
that's
say about that.
really,
Yeah.
that's really the front end of what we started here.
Yeah.
This has gone out into places
Yeah.
where people are really coming from homes where they are at war with each other, where they are bombing each
Yeah.
other, where they are
Yeah.
destroying each other's
Well,
homes,
it's,
bridges,
it's
hospitals,
about
factories.
That's
it's about the
right.
peace, love, and music and interdependence and all
And
that.
they're meeting up
happens
there in
with the pussy.
Tajikistan.
And they're hanging out together, and they're having
I'll tell you
like
something else.
groups like this where they're having conversations and they're working together and getting stuff done.
Wow,
And learning
this is
each
just
other's,
what I
other's rhymes
That's right.
and recipes and becoming pals. But here's the thing.
Mhm.
If let's say just for example, the Tajikistan gathering becomes a big Central Asian gathering over the next 10 or 12 years. And instead of there being 1,300 people, now there's 13,000 people. And now there's 33,000 people or 11,000 people. There are going to be scammers. They will try to get online.
Oh, sure.
They will try to run the show. They will try to hustle dough. They will do this scam, that scam, and the other scam. That's the way it is.
It's just a bad percentage of people.
Is it my
Yeah,
turn
and they
yet?
won't won't come to
Can
something
I get the
when it's
gather?
when it's brand new and it's fresh and
Can I get
very
the
creative. They don't want to go to it because who the hell knows what it really
Is
is.
it my turn yet, please? Thank you.
Sorry.
I'll shut up now.
Well, no, this is Maverick used to talk about how 3/4 of the people at any gathering were never at one before, and 3/4 of the people would never come back. That's the, why I never. I lived with the family on Venice Beach in that Rose Avenue parking lot squat for years, right? And it's a community. It was a living community that I was part of that was squatting in the corner of Venice Beach.
When was that?
It was 1980,
In it.
82, 80,
Oh, really? Oh,
1982, 83. I was there from it was mainly 82 and 83. They kind of busted it all up in advance of the 84 Olympics. They kind of broke it
I
up.
bet it was
And then in 85 or 86, the
okay.
jurisdiction changed.
I'm old.
But anyway,
Just
what I was getting at is the gathering itself. I
You
was
just did it when
never
you were younger.
the rap that I was given was that the gathering
I
was
don't even know what your age is, but it doesn't matter.
mostly to come and share what our resources with each
Mhm,
other for that week, and that the family lived like
Right.
this in the city, and had farmlands. You know, they lived like
Oh, nice.
communally in the cities, or
Sure,
green as
sure.
possible. You know, in the cracks in the cities,
Mhm.
and nice communes out in the countryside. And this is what I had places I could stay, and people, there was community just anywhere I went. There were rainbow hippies, but this rainbow family thing, the gatherings never really kind of matched up to the community I was used to living in Venice when I got to the first one, and I just had rainbow hippie and rainbow family just seemed to get further and
So
further apart.
so you see that a delineation in there
There's a
between
schism that's
family,
always been there.
between family and
There's these
hippies.
people calling themselves rainbow family
Mhm.
seem to be more cultist.
Mhm.
But the people who are actually living, walking the talk of this rainbow hippie, the peace,
Yeah,
love, and music,
yeah,
and being
yeah.
kind to each other, and all that, living
Right.
green, and all that.
Right.
Those are rainbow hippies, and they more and more, they'll have less and less to do with anything calling itself rainbow family or rainbow gathering because of the nefarious behavior that goes on. They get, I hear from young mothers, all the time who like lost nice gear that they brought, had, some sexual abuse, not necessarily rape, but just a little bit too much, I've seen it, where the older brothers will just like, go sister, spiritual, this and that and the other thing, let's go get naked. I had this one character in town. I don't, we're not mentioning names tonight, but this guy ran off with my last ex-old lady, and then a couple of years
My
later,
last ex-old lady.
right.
I get it.
Well, she
Keep
wasn't
going,
my
keep
ex-old
going,
lady
you're
until
great.
she ran
You're
off with
great.
her.
I get it.
And he looked enough like me that they were traveling around the country, and weird shit was happening in their wake when I'd show up, and it's like, what's going on? We just saw you, blah, blah, what's going on? And Dusky Rainbow had a shotgun in my face before that at Weedstock one year because of that shit. And then I ran into Mama Sheila, and she gave me a whole ration of shit about how the guy had fucked her over.
What about the one guy that I rode with, Woodstock?
Oh boy. Well, Woody's the one that accuses you and Joni Freedom of being part of the family cartel.
I guess I put
Oh,
something
my
in.
God.
In 2011, I was in Oregon, and I got a ride with this guy in a van with a bunch of people, a bunch of hippies.
You know him, don't you?
To Garberville, and it was so bad that the car ran out of gas, and we just all bailed on the Eel River.
I would like to say.
His name was Woodstock.
I would like to say that.
Yeah.
I know enough awful stories about him.
Do you go all the way back to the beginning to the Rainbow Hawk movie?
Yes. I watched that happen up close.
Great.
And it was played unbelievably badly by him, by Woodstock, and everybody surrounding that whole movie. And I don't even want to talk about it because it's just one bad thing after another bad thing after another bad thing, and him threatening to rat these people out for growing if they didn't let him live in his bus on their land, and his story after story after story like this. And I do everything I possibly can to be friendly. When I see him, I say, hello, brother. I wave and I smile. I'm willing to give him a hug. I'm just not willing to get into anything with him because it always has turned to crap.
Okay.
And look.
That's Woody.
Every one of you has done something that has turned to crap. So have I. But that's one out of, if you're lucky, it's 1 out of 100.
Right.
And if you're normal, it's 1 out of 50. And if you have bad luck, it's 1 out of 10.
I
And
know,
if it's Woodstock, it's
It's guaranteed.
It's
Guaranteed fucking and turned to shit and Lenny's in it.
And good
And what's
Lord.
really sad is the
And I'll tell you,
dude is really a good
Rainbow
musician.
Hawk.
You ever heard him actually play music?
Yes,
I mean,
he's
he'll talk
wonderful.
about what?
He's freaking wonderful.
He's great.
Who
Yes,
is?
Woody.
He's a
Oh,
musician.
He's
okay.
a fabulous piano
Rainbow
player, and he
Hawk
never
is another
plays.
story. Rainbow Hawk and his Woodstock get busted. They get busted. They get busted hard.
Big time.
For
10 years.
stupid acid busts.
When was this?
This has got to be
Long
80.
Island in
1984,
1984 or something like that. They
somewhere
did
in
10
there.
years in Attica.
Yes, and Rainbow Hawk was also the guy, excuse me, who, and he's now partnered up with Woodstock in this.
Mhm.
He's the one who raised money for years for the Rainbow Fleet, and then camped everybody out while he and his girlfriend lived what I want to call cafe lifestyle, while everybody else was, you know, living on the pier, you know. And there was a terrible story where they finally, in the third year after he collected money, they got some kind of barge, which they bought. And then they all went into town to some party, and they left some plug undone. The whole thing had sunk. It's still in Seattle Harbor.
Oh my God!
And this was the great Rainbow Fleet. Rainbow Hawk collected so much money.
I was down in Key West one winter when he was down there doing that.
Here's
Somebody left the bathtub on.
Yeah, he was trying to go to Belize or they were trying to sail from Key West to Belize or something like that. I was down there that winter. That was crazy.
Oh, that's funny.
I traveled with him. Oh God, this other guy was getting on with his old lady, and she wanted out of the relationship anyway, and he took out a little penknife and went after. And I was like, he was this like older guy with a little penknife trying to be threatening, and it was so totally pathetic.
Oh my
And nobody
God.
was even hurt. But I can't put this online because someone will say, da 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 da, Rainbow Hawk attacked some woman with a knife. It's not really true. He was like a pathetic old guy who took his penknife out. He was so frustrated with what was happening, you know. And these stories get blown out of
Oh, it's
proportion.
nuts.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you know the guy in Texas? He's supposed to be a sexual predator. He's a nuclear engineer.
Don't know who you're talking.
Bill Pope.
Don't know.
He was running a Rainbow
I'll tell you-
Scammer group,
Here's
and they were trashing Hawk for being a grifter. And here I was trying to stick up for him, and you know, it's like, hey man, where I come from, we don't talk about people behind their backs. We talk about people where they can answer for themselves. And
also
There's
online.
nothing worse
Right.
than talking shit about it.
right, and it's like, you know,
Oh,
hey,
sorry.
bring Rainbow Hawk here, and let's like hear his side of the
The
story.
last bunch of
And I was trying to
communications-
I'll get to the point
Yeah.
quickly here. I'm trying to stick up for the clown, and on the side we're having this conversation, and it turned to religion, and all of a sudden he's like dissing everything except his like. He's got some Messiah complex,
Yeah.
and it was like, okay, you know, I'm a Kohen
See.
man, you know, I'm
Yes.
trained to like if you're hip to the doctrine of love, I don't give a fuck what else you're doing. It's the way I'm
It's easier.
I'm programmed.
It's easier for me, same kind of thing. It's easier for me every once in a long while to write a little comment to something Rainbow Hawk says on Facebook and
Oh,
say,
I'm
good luck
sorry.
with this. I hope that goes
I forgot
well.
about you. Here's
Carry
a
on,
longer one.
brother. Then it's
Mhm.
easier for me to say that
Here's a
than
longer
to
one.
be critical and say, this is not going to work, don't get on the boat. Because then he'll just smear me all over the damn web with every damn accusation, false accusation, half accusation he can come up with. I don't need that in my life.
No,
I'd
you
rather say he's down there somewhere in South America doing whatever stuff, and I'm like, carry on, brother.
Right.
Carry the light, because you know he's gonna meet some young kid who he's gonna scam out of some money, and he's gonna explain to the young kid the good ideals of peace and justice, and the young kid will go on anyway, even though the Hawk scammed him.
How about Gypsy
Gypsy, who
Which gypsy?
Joseph?
seems like a good guy.
He's one of the ones that's like smearing me with bullshit, and he's also accused of sexual predation.
I don't know anything
These are
about
just
him.
accusations.
You know, it's so easy to accuse.
Right, it's real
Listen,
easy.
remember
I'm
Lyndon
accused of
Johnson
sexual
said about politics?
predation. I haven't.
Lyndon Johnson said, you want to win in politics, you call your opponent a cocksucker in private and make them deny it in public.
Right, exactly. But
No, I never knew
there,
what was wrong with
he's
being a
he's
cocksucker.
one of the
That's another
people that
issue.
is promoting the squatting on federal land.
This I don't know.
Is this a
This I
gypsy that was
do.
around here in 2011?
No, he wasn't here. You know,
Is that Cosmo
Marty
Paulo?
is
No.
accused of running these Shantacina training camp. with duct tape and sticks.
Yes,
This I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
See, all this is accused of. Is accused of. Is accused
Well,
of.
these are things that are coming from reliable sources, or I
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
be
you
repeating
gotta
them.
document who, what, where, when, why. If you want to.
I have been to a certain extent.
You're gonna get stuck making
Well,
false accusations.
as it is, you know, there are people that you know, those
I
five.
like this guy so much. I mean,
Girls.
this gal so much. I like this gal so much.
Those five,
I'm learning.
those five are you know,
You got it.
and there's people along with them that are involved in this that are really putting forth a bad image to the world about gatherings. One thing in particular that they're doing that a lot of people are opposed to is putting out the coordinates in public. You know, in
I'm
the old
staying
days,
so
it was
out
all
of this.
about phone trees and
Right.
flyers.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. And it was a PO box. And you
Yeah,
got
it's
maps.
right online.
Yeah, it's there for anybody to see, and that's what's attracting all the garbage to the gatherings.
But
Is
it sounds
these
like
They're
groups.
using social media.
TOMMY, new word.
And I
TOMMIE.
guess that's a good reason to have
JAYNE.
social media, I think,
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Want any
It's
last
good
name or just
input.
those two together are good?
Tommy Jane, yeah.
if it's open
Because
to
I don't even, you know, my two
Right,
years my
that's the idea.
my stage name in Washerburg's too easy and too hard to use, so I don't. I'm Tommy Jane, and if people can't get the girl part, it's like call me Bay. I'm Tommy. Bay. Use Bay.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying so
Well,
hard.
you know, I appreciate it. You know, we only see each other about once a year, and you've known me since 1989.
Yeah, we're good friends. We have a long thing going on.
So this is you know, this is the kind of friendship. You know, it's like
We just pick it up
when we see it.
in a minute.
You know,
Yeah.
and it started over watermelon. I mean,
Yeah.
we made eye contact over the watermelon. It's like, okay, I know you, and I've known you forever, and someday we'll get to sit down and talk about it.
We talk about this stuff a lot. I'm telling you, that conversation we had about that Leonard Peltier letter put in my head when I, you know, because you bugged me, and I put it in my head to hold it till the right moment. I'm telling
Right
you,
on.
this was strategizing together that played
Yeah.
good for family and good for the Native American
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
There's a great AIM story in here with the rainbows and the AIM that has never gotten any press and never been told. And it's right toward the end of the book. And it's because in the beginning of the book, I'm talking about the problems of the world and how we're looking at the world is so nuts, how we're ever going to live in it sanely. And toward the end, I'm finding a couple of clues and hints for solutions. One of them is education. One of them is whatever else. But there's a chapter in here with the AIM people and us doing something together, which is about one of the.
Was it that thing in St. Louis?
No. That's a good one, but no, it's Saskatchewan.
How much is the book?
$30, but I give it to people who can't afford one, and I give away free online copies for downloads if you have no your Kindle.
Well, this book will
I'd
be
have to have an
available
actual-
for reading.
Get your library to get it.
Thanks.
You're gonna come over here. I'm not gonna lend it out, but if anybody wants to come and sit and read here, I'm
cool.
reading here.
Yeah, leave me alone.
All right,
I'm
it's
going
gonna
over to
probably
Tom's
have to live in
read
the
books.
plastic bag.
Terry, do
Yeah,
you mind if I
right.
take a photo of you signing the book?
No, you go right in. Just make sure the light's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Here.
yeah.
More light.
Oh, more light coming.
More light. There's light.
There we go.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's gonna be bad.
It's a little
Whole
too much,
face
actually.
gets shot. Yeah, you gotta get on this
Cool.
side.
That worked.
No,
Did it?
Yeah.
there's you know, real friends
Well, okay.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
can
Signing the book.
Cool.
don't
Yeah. That's, all
That's
we need.
nice. That's
you know, you
nice.
got
Things on
so many
the page.
that's what I always loved about rainbow hippies is like you only see them here and there, now and then, and it's like you just pick it right up, right where you left off.
I know. I've been a rainbow hippie all my life, but I had to raise my children as a conservative Republican so that I could keep them with me.
Oh
So
gosh.
it was like this acting job I had for 20 years, you know. I should get an Oscar, but it's all right.
Get a willy.
I should get it. Yeah, really.
You get a willy.
Tell you.
That's
Very
what
good.
that's we need to we'll make the Willie Award.
The Willie Award.
And who's that named for?
Who do you think?
Willie Nelson?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I missed part of it.
I don't think Willie would give me I don't think I should get a Willie for acting like a conservative Republican for 20 years so I can keep my kids. I don't know.
No, I think that's deserving of Willie.
It's deserving of an Oscar.
No, you know, Oscar, those people are all a bunch of pedophiles and
Oh, I see. That's why we're gonna stick with Willie. We want
Right.
the family.
right, right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, fuck Hollywood.
But I wasn't thinking
Right, fuck Hollywood.
I wasn't thinking in a trashy way.
My great grandfather's middle name was Oscar.
Oscar.
So,
Yep.
Oscar?
I say Oscar. But I played that was because I played music with Oscar. It's Oscar.
Oscar.
Yeah, my great grandfather was just
I knew an Oscar. Someone called himself Oscar.
Yeah, I knew somebody named Oscar when I was a kid.
What kind of gel pen do you like?
I like the Precise V5.
Who makes it?
It's Pilot.
Yeah, that's the one. Pilots.
What I've been using, what I use at the shop and at the booth, are the Uniball extra fines, and I was using those because that's what I write on the receipts to do all this. But what happens is this is a slightly matte paper, and it slows me down, and my hand gets tired. So recently I changed over. I could do a commercial for the Pilot.
Yeah.
V5 Precise.
So how much?
works.
How much of the book did you write by hand, and how much did you type?
Some of the early chapters that I wrote, and they're not necessarily earlier in the book, because I wrote some of the stuff down. I wrote by hand, and that would be anything I wrote before 1994. 94, I got one of those primitive SEs, Mac SE, already an old machine, and I began to dot matrix type it up, and most of it's written in the last 20 years, all typed. All typed. Like there's 3 or 4 chapters that were handwritten at the beginning.
I actually got my first word
How many words are in it?
processor in 1973.
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's a really. I'm gonna go find out.
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't know the answer.
Can't
Publisher,
believe you
I'm
don't
sure,
know
has
the
an
answer.
account.
I know too many people that write and they post. I have one friend who is writing a expose on Scientology because her husband died. It's a long story, but
Talk about freaking cults. Give me
yeah,
a break.
talk about freaking cults.
Yeah, right.
And she posts like every day. And today I did 4,700 words today. You know, her husband just died like 8 months ago. And it
I
was
doodled all
it was
over
really
Tommy. I
tragic.
couldn't help myself.
So.
Why, thank you.
All right.
Read it, enjoy it. If you find typos, let me know because there will be a second edition. With
My
some stuff
friends
short.
in
Thanks so much.
Wisconsin wrote a book.
But I know, I was, you know, I've been a hippie because, like I said, I didn't know I wasn't a beatnik anymore until they told me all the beatniks were dead. But I make the distinction. I call myself first generation family.
Yeah.
And you founding circle. And
I
I wasn't
like
at
the
the
founding
72.
I like the phrase you used, founding
Yeah.
circle, in the flyer for this night. I like that phrase. That's appropriate.
Yeah, anybody who was at the 72 gathering, I call founding circle. And anybody who showed up before 1985, I call first generation.
That's fair. That's really fair.
You know,
85.
no elders,
That makes
no,
sense.
just they were at the 72 and we were there before 1985.
No, I think that's fair because those gatherings had a similarity to them and a connection to them. And in 85, 86, we went to what was it, Missouri, and then first Pennsylvania, and that was definitely a different time.
Yeah, I never got. You know, I was living with the family on Venice Beach from 82 to 89, and then you know I got shot in 87 and got the motor home and put that on the road, and I was carrying a seed camp around. You know, I could set up anywhere and take care of 50 people just that fast.
Yeah.
and I'd plug into the main supply, so I was always around Maverick when I did gather. And I spent some time on his land a couple of times. There was, you know, after the Minnesota gathering, we were there for a while, and a couple of times, you know, because I was involved with the Midwest Hemp people and Danny.
Did you see the
you know,
stuff
he
published
passed this summer.
at Mizell?
Yeah.
No, Maverick.
Maverick.
Yes. Yes.
Did
Did you see Ben's tombstone?
no, I haven't seen that yet.
So Ben has a tombstone. Ben Mizell, one of the great hemp activists ever, one of the great peace stick activists, one of the great nonviolent activists, totally heroic human being.
Right.
And the front of his tombstone is very straightforward. Ben Mizell, da 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 da, born, died, da 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 da. On the back, there's also an inscription in the same print face. It says, "We don't need no stinking badges." Carved in stone.
He ran
That's
in
great.
1990, I think it was, 91. What was the year was the Minnesota Gathering? They took a picture of him in the woods, nude, and he was running against, what was it, Tommy Thompson or something? Greg was running in a Republican primary as a Green Republican.
Minnesota's 1990.
Yeah, so it was that year.
Really?
He was running as a Green Republican in the gubernatorial race, and they took a picture of him in the gathering nude, and it became a campaign poster that said, "The only Republican with nothing to hide."
Well,
I saw
That's
it.
great. That's great. I
I saw
don't remember
Ben in-
seeing
That's funny.
that.
Yeah.
What
It's
where
brutal. Do you ever play the chess?
where was the gathering in Minnesota?
Uh,
What city? What town?
It was outside of Grand Marais.
Outside
Up
of
in-
Grand Marais. Okay, so that was way north.
Yeah, it's way north, up
Way
past Duluth,
Sure,
Oh,
sure.
wow.
to the east, way to the east.
Yeah.
The other, you know, I also credit Ben with actually being the person to start the Occupy movement. He, in the spring of the year they occupied Zuccotti Park, whatever
Yes.
year that
Mhm.
was, in the spring of that year, there was some kind of contract dispute with the state employees,
uh-huh.
and Ben brought the hippies in.
And Saturday in the freaking Capitol. I
Yeah,
got pictures
that
of
was
the
the
Capitol.
yeah, and the video is on YouTube. This is a test of the emergency-free speech
Yes, this is
system.
yeah, it's fine.
That was
This is
the
the test
that
of the
was the
emergency
beginning
free
of the
speech
Occupy
system.
movement.
Oh man. Okay, you know what? There may be more to it than okay. So
Yeah.
Ben was close with Penley. You know Penley?
Yeah.
John Penley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Penley really did it. There was a group of people meeting in Tompkins Park regularly to talk about occupying Wall Street. This was after what Ben did at the state capitol. And they were talking about occupying Wall Street, and they had like meeting number 3. And they were saying, look, you know, there's no way that we're going to have a meeting and decide we're going to go do it tomorrow and they're not going to block it off because this is an open meeting. There's 75 people here. One of us is surely on with the cops. No offense to who it might be, and we're not going to be able to say let's go meet tomorrow. And they will wall off Wall Street. They will see us coming. And somebody said, well, you know, the only way we could really do it, if we wanted to do it, would be now. We'd have to get up from here, and we'd have to walk down to Wall Street, and we'd have to sit in front of the stock exchange. And a bunch of people, and Penley said, well, if we really want to do that, we should just do it.
Right.
So they got up and they walked downtown and they all texted and called friends.
Mhm.
And by the time they got down there, there were about 250 people. And by that time, Wall Street was in front of the stock exchange was all police barricaded off because somebody had called in and said, get those boys in blue out there now. They're coming. They're coming. And they got headed down Wall Street or across Wall Street and around the stock exchange. And they didn't know quite what to do.
I heard
They took a
this
right
story.
turn onto Broadway.
Right.
And they were walking up Broadway, stopping all the traffic, walking and chanting whatever they were chanting. And then 2 blocks north of Wall Street on the left, there is Zuccotti Park. And they walked in and sat down.
And there they sat.
And then within minutes, they found out that this was an open to the public 24-hour park.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And then what happened was that the Zuccottis, who wanted to build an extra taller building on some other park open space, traded, leaving this open space that they owned as a public park open 24 hours with full public access.
As luck would have it.
As luck and history would have it. What's your name?
How did Move On get the credit for it?
Move on. Did not, did they?
Well, in the common history, Move On
Yeah.
gets the credit for it.
Yeah,
Right,
well,
some
yeah,
guys- some
yeah,
other- some
George
other-
Soros made sure that happened.
some-
That's Move On.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. And I know
Oh,
for a fact that it was like Abby Hoffman's like children that did it. People
Okay.
like Penley
I've got a
and Benny Maisel. Those were old
Right.
those were Abby's proteges.
Right.
You know, all the stories about it. You know,
Yeah.
you try to paint
So-
everybody with the one brush.
You know, I don't
It
know,
doesn't
in
work.
this Move On,
Right, but there's been all kinds of great
now
stuff,
there's, they
injustice
got a
and
new
injuries and
promotion
messed up
thing that they're
things.
doing.
Right,
And it's,
right.
Move on.
It's all
Yes.
part
Yeah,
of the-
yeah, but it's
Part of
it's
the
coming
drama.
across
Yeah,
as,
somebody tries to paint the whole
who's
thing
who's
as a
putting
scam.
it
You
up?
know,
Michael Moore.
you know, it's like
Michael
the-
Moore is
uh,
saying, we've gotta
Democrats,
make this
uh,
stop, and he's
everybody
right, we
put
gotta
it
make it
cool.
stop. But
Everybody
he's
does
being
put it
backed
cool.
by
That's part of. I
the
think that's
Move
part
On
of
the
the
George Soros. So he's
Yeah, that's
so
part
Michael
of-
Moore
it's
has a
one of the
new
roles
campaign
that-
that's come out the last few days.
That's how you figure.
And
stuff out.
I agree with Michael Moore on
Sometimes-
some things,
Other
you know,
times I
but-
think
but
that's the
he's getting
reason
money,
some
you know, he's
Um,
getting paid.
I think Michael Moore
So-
might have said, I forget.
Well,
what it was.
this is the land of horrible
Michael
mistakes.
Moore
It
said
is.
something
We're
like
here
really-
to enjoy horrible mistakes. That's a sense
Well,
more than
yeah,
anything else.
And you're gonna learn.
The wrong
Yeah.
answer.
That's
Part of the
I
deal.
forget what it was.
You're gonna learn.
He said something that
Because
was
that's
like
the
instant
deal.
turn off to me.
Well, he
The real-
kind
the
of
real
alienated
kind
me
of
not that long ago. I mean, like a couple of,
That's
know,
what they keep happening.
a year ago or
Yeah.
so.
Just keep
He-
really.
Well, the
He's-
whole persona is like, you know,
He's been
I see
co-opted.
him as a little kid that was
Sure,
obnoxious.
yeah, that's what I think.
You know, I see him as an obnoxious little kid
Yeah,
that,
well.
that didn't grow up.
And we're
Yeah.
kind of learning it.
I always
So
have.
some of us are, you know, big
So,
deal. You wanna
yeah.
make something.
Yeah, but you're not
But together,
obnoxious.
Oh,
He is
Well,
the
you can be, I can be obnoxious too, but you don't go out of your way to be obnoxious. Or do you?
About how.
no, I'm
Oh, I
not getting
know.
the kind of money,
I won't
that-
do it
if-
unless
if
I'm
I
getting
did-
paid.
if I'm getting some, you know, I can get a lot of attention if I'm getting paid the right amount.
Yeah, I know, I can like do that kind of shit unless I'm getting paid.
Yeah. So I suppose that that's what Michael Moore is doing, you know, he's probably getting paid.
Well, he's making big
No.
money off that shit.
Yeah, you know it, and basically that's what's going on now. So, yeah, you gotta do your research and find out, you know, who's being supported by who and who's, you know, who's got their hands in their pockets, you know? Or whose pocket have they got
we
their
both
hands
know.
in?
That's
If they're
it.
getting paid, you know, they're
Yeah,
getting,
it's
they're
who's
bought off, they're
benefiting.
co-opted, and so that means they'll say anything.
Oh well, this whole left versus right, you know, the punch and Nazi and all that stuff. It's like Soros is.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at Charlottesville, what happened there?
Yeah,
Who the fuck? They
Right.
had a multi-agency task force that stood by and let it happen.
yeah.
I mean, what the fuck was that about?
On a dump, right?
Both sides were heavily
And they were gonna
loaded down with guinea caps and T-shirts and flags and banners, and that shit all
Right,
cost
right.
money.
Sweetheart deal under the
Where did the
table,
money
right?
come from?
Right, right.
Soros
Yeah.
funded the left,
Yeah.
and Koch brothers
Yeah.
are funding
That's
the right.
right, that's
While,
right.
while the old school, the old guard, the Rothschild Morgan guys are sitting there going, ha 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 ha, let's watch this all turn into
Yeah,
like a
well-
total like fucking helter-skelter so that we can sell modern equipment to the local police departments in America instead of the fucking war surplus. Is what they're after. They don't care who wins.
Right.
They want to see folks unrest so that they can impose martial law on us
Right,
full blown instead
Right.
of half-ass shit that they're doing.
Right, right. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And so here we are, and this is going on.
Yeah, well, and
Maybe-
we're in
maybe you
Tucson,
know
and we
what
have a
to do
queer
with this.
police
You know
chief and a
Yeah.
community-oriented
You know
police
what?
department that's
You
not
know what I
militarized.
guess? I used to
Praise
live
God. You go
And
to
what
a
the people do
a
there is
demonstration,
go
and
hang
you'll
out
see
and
all the
party at
fat
bars,
cops
really
and the brass
party a
out in the
lot,
crowd
let us
chatting them up, and
crazy
they don't bring the
drama
riot
and stuff
squad out
happens.
unless they need it.
And then they
So
go
like
Makes a
Berkeley,
big
what
difference.
about
they
places
wake
like
up in the
that?
morning and they go
Huh?
pick
Like
up their mail
Berkeley.
at the post office.
I mean, Berkeley
And then they
is-
pass the
Berkeley, they
the
come out
bulletin
in
board,
armor
right?
automatically.
Yeah, I mean,
There are
they're-
20 people
and then
on
they
the all
go-
the riot squad got to come out for that
Right,
shit.
they're
And
so
they talk about what
in
they
then
see
all
on
the
the
time. I
bulletin
mean,
board,
The,
that's another
they
great thing
armor up
to it.
on 6th Street in Austin every weekend. There's some armored cops out there standing on the
Just for
street.
whatever.
Just for
Right.
the bar scene.
Venice Beach. Same thing.
Wow.
They're armored
now,
on
yeah.
Venice Beach. The
Well,
beach
and
cops used to
remember,
wear
we
shorts
watched
and
them-
t-shirts.
We watched them break up a riot cops
The
break
next
up a drug
2
circle
days
and
later,
the
it
sun
was
went
in
down.
Boston.
Oh wow! They had body
Finally made it
armor.
to
They
the
had
news,
black
right?
jackets, but
Somebody
that was
saw
it. And they wore it under t-shirts and shorts.
Right after
And they're
that,
now they're stopping
They
drum
postponed
circles?
Yeah, they did that in Venice.
For
after
Christ's
that,
sake.
On the
they had a
beach.
meeting.
My
where
God.
They were
Yeah, I
gonna have
know.
an
It was sort of
actual
like,
facility
let's get out of
going
here
on.
before it
Like,
gets
the
crazy.
neighbors are, what are you people doing? Right?
You know, years and years
Yeah.
and years.
That's
and now
right,
all of
right.
a
You
sudden
didn't
it's
tell us.
down.
That's right.
Well, I think that's because
Made it to
there's a
Tucson
law.
week.
The law is that
Right?
the
And
beach
they
is
and,
closed after
and,
dark.
and there was this big headline.
And so they can enforce
what's
it.
burning
They're
down
just
in
trying to get
Cochise
people to
County,
leave,
right?
but then people don't want to
And
leave,
then
which is I guess is
Well,
happening.
what about the
University of
pagodas and
Arizona
shit?
got it.
What?
Are
They
people
say
still out on the
they
boardwalk
told the
after
people
dark and in the pagodas?
Well,
So
it's
people can stay on the boardwalk.
What are you doing?
Right, just-
Can't
You
be
know,
down
on the beach
on
itself.
the beach.
Yeah, on the sand.
Yeah.
A multi-million-dollar.
I don't know
And that's
about that.
And
communication.
then the boardwalk after dark.
Well,
is
That's
then
what
it'd
it's
be,
about.
people.
I
It's
don't
all
know,
about
that'd be
communication
like
and
going
it's
to
about not
Harmony
getting
Park
killed.
in
Because those
in
are
Geneva,
millionaire-
Minnesota, and
those are
and
nefarious
they
people.
have people that live around the lake there, and they don't like
Right.
it if there's drumming going on after 10 o'clock, so we have to shut down.
Right, it's shut down
No.
usually by like
Right,
10
right.
o'clock, but not at
Right.
sundown.
Right.
Yeah, not at sundown.
And now they're gone.
Yeah, that
that
was
seems
weird.
weird.
We
It
could
was
drum
Yeah,
out
that's
all night,
really
nobody
weird.
could say a word, as long
I
as we
had that
kept it
piece of
reasonable.
paper in my hand at the
But
right
it-
time.
We could-
I
we
knew
could sit
the
here all night,
place
as
to
long as
put
we
it, I
kept
knew the
reasonable.
communication. I
I'd
know
play
what's
my
working.
saxophone
It's
till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Keeping it
Bisbee, where
reasonable.
they're crazy.
Yeah.
It'll
Now in
work
People's
there.
Park in
People
Berkeley,
riled up.
I mean that's a
Right.
24-hour
Work.
park that's open to the public. People sleep there, people
Oh,
live there.
okay.
It's like an open air
Right.
dispensary.
It's not
Really,
easy
just
to do
go
it.
in
Yeah.
and buy.
No,
It's
it's
just
not,
like
but I
this river,
recognize
like
the
I haven't been there since the
diesel.
80s.
I recognize
Well, you were
the
there in the last 10 years.
getting around and
But I mean,
parking.
sometimes cops
Anybody
will
else
come
that
through there.
I
Not
mean,
I had
riot
that kind of
cops.
lifestyle.
That's like
Right.
a lot more than that. It's only when there's a rally or political events that
I
the
knew
riot
what
cops
was
are
really happening.
The riot cops here, you never see them.
And I
You never
Well,
see them
that's
unless
fine.
they need you.
I
Yeah, it's
prefer
good.
to never see
Occupy
It was
Tucson.
hilarious.
That they were out.
At the Trump rally this last summer.
Yeah, were they
It
out
was
there?
hilarious. It was just fucking hilarious.
well.
It was
They
when
were-
Trump
they-
came to speak.
When Trump came to speak at the convention center,
Yeah.
BLM and all these
Well,
other
maybe I'll
groups
see you
showed
down
up,
there, but I'm
and
never
they're
gonna see
with
you.
megaphones and shit. They're shouting racist slogans at the Trump supporters, right?
Right.
Trying to stir shit up.
Right.
And like I said, the beat cops and the brass are in the
Right.
crowd. And
demonstrating something to the
larger
larger
when there'd be like a clash would
Right.
occur,
Right.
and here comes the riot squad trotting out, and they'd see them coming, and all of a sudden everybody's like,
getting the news out.
just chill as soon as they saw them coming. So like the riot squad never had to do anything except appear.
Right, so you're saying like that's an example of how Tucson is still pretty laid back in this term.
Just it's just much you know. I've seen them break up gang fights at Lake Avenue and O'Malley Park.
And
without
that'll
hitting
get
anybody. They just
that'll
wade
get
into it and start pushing
Yeah.
people back. Sit down, shut up. Sit down, just back off, separate. You know, just
Whereas in like
Don't be
Berkeley,
beating
there's
on
like
anybody.
stuff being set on fire.
is you gone?
You
I
leaving?
gotta
Yeah.
get up in the morning and get
Yeah,
to work
it's
at 9:30
it was
a.m.
nice meeting you.
Thank you for the recording and all the discussion.
Oh, it was
Don't
very
get up,
nice
don't get
to
up,
meet you, Gary.
don't get up.
Okay.
Complete pleasure. Be
Yes.
well.
I look forward
Hey,
to
thanks
reading
for
your
doing
book.
what you do, guys.
So
Appreciate
all good
appreciate
things,
everything
rock and
you do.
roll. That's right. We We do what we can.
That's right.
What a beautiful evening.
Oh, thank you.
Tommy.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
we probably
She's my
won't get
favorite.
more than a couple of minutes between now and you leave again.
Yeah, but if you scooch by, reach in and pick any one of or whatever.
Well, I'm gonna come by and take a good look at those.
Take a look at them.
Yeah,
You
I
got
mean,
it.
if there's a bunch of them, because
You
I
guys
got
working
nothing to talk
tomorrow?
right now.
The small ones, the small ones, the small ones are the ones that will have color, because real experts have already gone over the big ones,
Sure.
and they pushed the small ones aside. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to tell them.
No, they were actually the big honkers they could be carving on and getting a wow of money.
Yeah, but I was like I said, I was selling them for $24 a piece.
And they were
3
happy
years
to have
ago.
because them fuckers for really good piece, they want.
Yeah.
They want
Ruby.
serious money.
Which
Zoicide.
in
That's why
Ruby
that's
and
why the
Zoicide.
Mexicans are
You-
missing out on dollar
Yeah,
fish.
you don't have to buy that from them. They got
I'm
one.
not gonna buy a whole bunch of
Then
that.
you have to work some deal out.
Bonita Creations.
Yeah.
my
All right.
other
Happy night.
sells
night.
Ruby and Zoicide
Have fun with
strands.
this.
Oh,
I'm
really?
gonna enjoy that, and then a lot of people are gonna come
All right,
over and read it.
that kind of
Happy day, thank you so much.
hearing.
Drive safely. See you later this
All right,
weekend.
bye.
How long
And
is
he's
this
over
thing?
at the what do you call it? The River Park Inn.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
And you're
his
right there.
his
We're near
That's
it.
at Congress, and the River Park Inn is over on Congress.
That's on the freeway. Just that's it.
well, it's 3.5 hours there.
Cushing, yeah.
I know where it is.
And then
Yeah, and you're-
we are at closer to Congress.
You're closer to Congress, right?
Yeah.
In between
So-
Cushing and Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There you have it. I'm not alone in the world, and you know, there are rainbow people that do respect me. So namaste, motherfuckers, because I know none of the real people have watched this long. Assholes, get lives, or lose yours. You know, go drive your truck into a bridge, Mikey.
Uh-oh.
What are you having
Happy-
trolls
not
on,
you,
on there right now?
No, I'm talking just to the camera.
Oh, okay.
This is I'm wrapping up the 3.5 hours. Anything you'd like to say to Kiwi farmers?
Wow. Do you have a piece of paper then?
Yeah, I
Okay,
wrote it down
yeah.
in my date
Oh,
book.
Zoisite.
It's like
ZOI.
namaste, kids. Happy day.
So I
Thanks for watching. Bye.
misspelled